In everybody to the High Noon Stream. I am Pugs Moran. We do this every Monday through Friday, noon till whenever. This is a show about this day. This is a show about what happened on this day in the past. We go through the history of this particular day. We tell you anything that might, inform us as to what the day ahead leads to. We go through the history. We talk about people who were born on this day. We celebrate their accomplishments. Sometimes we dance on their graves. It really all just depends. Then we mourn the passings of those who've left this plane of existence on this very day throughout history. We call this part of the show Previously On. And then after we go through all of that stuff, then we get into the hot topics, current events, trends, headlines, everything that people are buzzing about today. See, I feel, and maybe I'm alone in this, I don't know, but I feel like we have to truly understand the past previously on March the 29th, before we can really dig in and chop it up about all the things that are happening today. So if you're with me, that's what we do here every Monday through Friday, noon till whenever. Now, the show operates on the tip system, so go ahead. You're going to tip the show. That's great. We appreciate that. We are otherwise without income, like a public broadcasting thing. Pledge drive, that kind of a deal. If you're so inclined, we sure would appreciate it. But above and beyond that, all you got to do is come on into the chat room, pull up a beanbag chair, and, just start talking it up. Cutting it up, that's all we do. This is conversation. Now, it's led by me. This particular show, the noon show, Monday through Friday at noon, is just me screaming at you. But you guys in the chat room seem to have a good time, so... we do another stream too. There is a second one. If you don't like me, if it's like, you know what, you're a little much. If that's too much for you, come on back at 9 o'clock tonight. 9 o'clock tonight, Central Standard Time. We do Pugs and Parker. Pugs and Parker with E. So I'm trying to build more of an ensemble, more of a nightly chat thing. Now, as of late, the 9 o'clock show, Pugs and Parker with E, has been pretty much focused on the Live 105.3 podcast that we're working on, that we're creating for the Radio Misfits podcast platform. RadioMisfits.com for all your podcast needs. Seriously, they've got an incredible array of creators that are putting up. What is the dog doing? I'm sorry. What? Don't lick your... Can you hear that? Listen. Do you hear that licking? Do you hear that licking? That is about 10 feet away. The microphone, that is how loud this dog licks herself. And I'm not talking about the dog licking the puss. That's not what I'm doing. This dog bathes herself. And she will lay there and she will lick every inch of her and slobber over every inch. Oh, God, it's disgusting. And then she'll want to cuddle. Afterwards, her favorite thing after giving herself a bath and making herself soaking wet in dog spit, her favorite thing to do next is to try and, she's like 75 age, she's a big dog. Her next move is to try and climb in your lap, except now she's all wet. And at first you think, oh, come here, baby. And because the dog, you love, that's part of being human-dog relations, the big hug. You're like, oh, come here, baby. And then she climbs up in you and she's wet. And it's gross. It is, oh. Anyway, that's what that noise was. Did you hear that freaking licking? It's disgusting. I wake up in the middle of the night. She sleeps. She's got a little bed over here by the door. She likes to be by the door. She can't get out, but she likes to lay by the door. She's got a little bed by the door here. And I don't close my door because she likes to come and go and walk around and all that stuff. So I don't want to close her off from the bedroom. But she sleeps there. And in the middle of the night, I will wake up to the sound of just, oh, God, dogs. We love them, but there's still, there's some bugs in the system that we got to work out. Pugs and Parker is the 9 o'clock show. That's Monday through Thursday. That's more conversational. And as I say, it's been focused recently on the Live 105.3 documentary that we're doing. Last night we had Dean Lewis. That was fun. Dean Lewis was great. I love Dean Lewis. Dean from the Jagger Show. I think of the people that we need to talk to in the Jagger Show, I think we've done that. The only thing that I want to do now is I want to talk to a number of the management people at 105.3. And for, understandable reasons, maybe that won't be streamed live. Maybe those will just be recorded. And, because I want to make sure that they feel completely comfortable talking about stuff. And sometimes suits can get when they know that everybody's listening. So I want to avoid that. But yeah, so we're moving along nicely. You can catch up on all the old interviews if you're interested in how the sausage is made, as far as this Live 105.3 podcast that we're doing. You can find all of those interviews. You can find Jagger. You can find Kelly. You can find Sybil. You can find Jasmine. Who did I miss? Big Dick Hunter. Headcrack. You can find all of these people. Just go to pugscast.com. Pugscast.com. And then you're going to want to click on live, I think. You got like a choice of things to click on. Because like for some reason, when I go to the page, pugscast.com, it just says pugscast.com and there are no videos, or there's only like one. And I'm like, I've done thousands of videos in the last 2 years. Where the hell are all the videos? And then I got to click on live and then they show up there. I don't know why that is. I don't know enough about YouTube. I spent a good 3 hours yesterday trying to learn how to just label YouTube things. I accomplished that. Today I'm going to try and learn how to edit. Oh, God, I'm not looking forward to it. That's why we're going to have one Wang Dang Dilly of a show today. I promise you a big show. We got extra stuff today. There's a lot happening. I've got a lot of hot takes. So without further ado, what do you say we get started? Let me take a drink. Uh-oh. This could be, is this going to be the hiccup drink? There's like one drink during the show that always doesn't settle right, and I end up getting hiccups about 45 to 90 seconds later, so let's see. First of all, chat room. Hi, Leslie Collins. Leslie's here. My man Jeff is here out there in the cornfields of Iowa. Taranda's here. To you, Taranda. We got Byron here. Byron, hello. We got Michael. We got Rainy Days, are you Rainy Days, are you someone... Hold on. I can do this right. Maybe I'll put it right here. Rainy Days, are you someone that I've been missing? Rainy Days, as I point to the picture behind me. Just a yes or no. Rainy Days, are you somebody that I've been missing? Which is good and bad. Because if it turns out to be the person I've been missing, then yay, they're back and we're happy. But also, I thought maybe we had a new person in the chat room. Where I'm like, we're growing one person at a time. But at least it's somebody that I'm happy to have back. I think. I don't know. What, now you're dragging your feet, Rainy Days? You're not going to answer me? Rainy Days, are you... That picture is... Rainy Days, is there a picture of you in my studio? Rainy Days, do you make some delicious jalapeno seasoning? Rainy Days, he says, no, I just had a different name. Okay, so Rainy Days is not Jeff. Where's Jeff? Now I'm upset again. I have never been so concerned about the well-being of a listener, of a friend. Anyway, okay, well, welcome, Rainy Days. I'm glad to have you here. Yeah, Jeff Glenn's been missing. I don't know. I love Jeff. I need to touch base with him. Maybe off the air. Maybe I need to touch base with him, figure out what's wrong. I hope I didn't offend. I can't possibly offend Jeff. We've been friends for 20 some years now. I've hung up on him. I've banned him from the show. I don't imagine that now I could have accidentally said something and not heard from him. All right, well, welcome, Rainy Days. It's nice to have you here. All right, everybody in the chat room, we're all having a good time. Let's see, where are we? Should we get the show started? Why not? Hey, guess what? Hiccups didn't come. Hiccups did not come. There were a couple of things I wanted to mention here at the start, though. Yeah, we've all been missing him, Jeff. Jeff Ballard. Jeff now is the King Jeff of the chat room. It used to be a shared monarchy. Now I don't know what's happening. All right, let's get started. It's high noon for the 29th day of March, year of our Lord 2023. This is the 88th day of the year. That's right, 277 more until New Year's Eve. What's your plans? What are your New Year's Eve plans? Do you have them? Do you have them yet? I don't either. On this day, let's jump back into previously on March the 29th. Let's jump back in, okay? 1867, Queen Victoria gives royal assent to the British North American Act, which establishes Canada. This, however, will not take effect until July 1st. Here's what I think. I think that, is this how it worked back then? In late March, would the Queen decide something, and then they'd have to like get on a boat, and it would take like 5 months to get over. So like Canada was its own thing for like months officially because the Queen declared. They just didn't know about it because they had no way to. I don't know. Hi, Mama Bella. Mama Bella's here now, so everything's good. Nice to see her. Let's see. On this day in 1882, the Knights of Columbus was established. Knights of Columbus. I always, what are these things? Look, I know what the Knights of Columbus are. The Knights of Columbus are a Catholic organization. I was raised Catholic. I get it. But it's not really a Catholic organization. What it is it's a place. Let's go back to what it was in the 1950s. I don't know what the hell these things are now. Maybe they're doing good. Maybe they did good then. They claim to do good, but really, like in the 1950s, places like the Knights of Columbus, the Elks, all of these things, these were just places for miserable married men to go before Fox News existed. That's all it was. These men's fraternal organizations. It was just dudes who didn't like to bowl. You know, if you couldn't join a bowling league in 1955, you had no excuse to get out of the house from your wife. Unless you were an alcoholic and you hung out at the tavern, which a lot of men did. But there were other categories of men that maybe couldn't pull that one. So, you know, they had to wrap it up in the church. I'm going to hang out Bible study with the Catholic brothers at Knights of Columbus. That's not what they did. They gambled, they smoked, they played. Stop it. Whatever. I guess they do some good things, but really all of these things are all these male fraternal organizations that exist where they wear silly hats, right? And they have rituals and all this nonsense. I call it nonsense because that's what it is. It's nonsense. It doesn't mean that it's not fun. It doesn't mean that it's not, worthy. I just don't know. I don't like groupthink. Like, I don't like fraternities. Like, all my friends in college were in fraternities, and I was like, nah, I don't like that. I'd rather just go to all the parties. I'd rather just be, free, like a leaf in the wind, to be able to. I don't want to buy into your pre-existing beefs, that kind of stuff. Anyway, fraternal orders, that's all they are for adult men. The Elks Club, the Knights of Columbus. They're just extensions of the college experience, just hanging out with a bunch of dudes. Primarily, and don't forget, this is the primary reason these things exist and don't allow women is because it's just a bunch of unhappily married men. And there was no divorce in the 50s, so you hung out with your guys all the time. On this day in 1941, British Royal Navy and Royal Australian Navy force a defeat of the Italian Regia Marina, Regal Marine, whatever, the Italian Navy. They got their ass whooped by the Australians and the Royals, the Brits. I bring this up because it's always bothered me. French get a raw deal. The French get a raw deal. I don't know why. Well, actually, I do know where it stems from. It stems from like 30 years ago. Who was it? Mitterrand, Francois Mitterrand. I think he was the president of France at the time. And we needed to fly our jets to attack Libya. And Gaddafi done something, all that nonsense. Anyway, we needed to fly over Italian airspace or French airspace for some reason. And the French said no. And they were like, nah, we're not going to do it. And that was like 40 years ago. And ever since then, it's like there has been this crazy narrative that the French were supposed pussies. The country of Charlemagne, the country of Napoleon, the country of the French. So I always push back on this. Are you kidding me? The French at numerous times have ruled the globe. Okay, so just let's dial it back on the French being pussies. French resistance was some of the most brutal and anyway, just look into the French resistance. It's a fascinating story of what these people did. How sneakily they did it. Anyway, we always give Italy a pass. Why do we give Italy a pass? At least France was on our side in World War II. Italy wasn't even on our side. And you never hear about these naval battles, but apparently they were nothing. The Italian Navy was a bunch of douchebags. A bunch of mopeds on gondolas. I don't even know. But they got their ass whooped. I just think that we ought to be harsher on the Italians. Throughout history, the Italians have not really been our guys. They haven't. Look it up. I mean, I'm not saying American Italians, there's anything wrong with it. I'm just saying, as a nation, when we look and when the narrative of what nations are okay, we're not that harsh on Italy. And I think we should be harsher on Italy than we are and we're really comfortable being harsh on France. And I'm like, it doesn't really work out. Man, we don't exist without the French. During the American Revolution, if the French didn't have our back, why do we hate on the French? It makes zero sense to me. Their food sucks. Their food is totally overrated. I'll give you that. Would you like to spend $400 for a gigantic plate with one tiny thing in the middle of it? No, I'd rather not. French food sucks. I shouldn't say sucks. I should say overrated. Overrated. On this day in 1951, Julius and Ethel Rosenberg are convicted of conspiracy to commit espionage. Big American history story here. The start of the whole place was I was going to say a crazy place back then, but my God, look in the mirror, modern American. Yeah, we're in a crazy place now. But back then, the crazy was like hyper-vigilant anti-communism. So it was like easy. It was almost like witch hunts. Like imagine witch hunts. Like where they used to say, that woman, a lady in a village catches her husband checking out a single girl. So then the married woman is like, that single girl's a witch! And they burn her, right? So it's just like stupid because everybody was ginned up. Like we are now. Everybody was ginned up. So, Julius and Ethel Rosenberg, they got ensnared in some kind of a plot, but then the narrative became different. It became, historically, the narrative is, did they do it? We executed them, we killed them, they were spies, we convicted them, but there was also a whole lot of anti-Jew stuff involved there. Like, it was like also very... shit was, people were willing to believe that Julius and Ethel Rosenberg were guilty, not necessarily on the evidence, but because they were Jewish. And at this time, I mean, we're within 10 years of Hitler putting people in concentration camps, right? So we're like right within that window. The world should be extra sensitive, and they weren't. They were like hyper anti-Jew in the 1950s. So a lot of people think that Julius and Ethel Rosenberg got swept up in that anti-Jew communist witch hunt kind of a deal. I don't know. But it's an interesting part of American history if you read all the different arguments for and against. 1961, on this day, the 23rd Amendment to the United States Constitution is ratified. All right, class, what's the 23rd Amendment? You don't know it. I didn't know it. We don't know it. We don't know anything past 5. In most cases, most people don't know anything past 2. As far as the amendments go. They got the free speech and they got the other one, the one about the guns. That's it. That's the limit. Ask somebody what the 8th Amendment to the Constitution is. Just not me, because I don't know it. I used to know it. That used to be one of my bar tricks. What is that? That's the Bill of Rights, right? So, I don't know. I don't know the Bill of Rights anymore. So sue me. I'll learn it. You know what? I'm going to learn it today. I'll learn it this afternoon. There I go. On this day in 1971, what did the 23rd Amendment do? I didn't tell you, did I? No, I didn't. It allowed people who lived in Washington, D.C. to vote. It was 1961. Before, Elvis had hit records on the charts, and people in Washington, D.C. were not allowed to vote for president. That seems weird. On this day in 1971, the My Lai Massacre. Lieutenant William Calley, who is another interesting fella. Lieutenant William Calley is convicted of premeditated murder and sentenced to life in prison. Man, the My Lai Massacre. So the My Lai Massacre occurred in Vietnam. It was the slaughter of civilians, children, women, 300-400. The numbers are all over the place, but the lowest number you'll hear is 300 civilians. They were just massacred by American soldiers. Company C, the boys in Company C, they just, for whatever reason, they slaughtered a whole bunch of innocent civilians. And there was a lot of this that happened in Vietnam. The My Lai Massacre is probably the most famous. I don't know. Look, I think we can all agree that the loss of innocent life is a tragedy. It's terrible. But war is terrible, man. That's why they say war is hell. I am not in any way, shape, or form trying to defend the actions of Lieutenant Calley on the day of the My Lai massacre. I'm just saying I've never been in war, and I don't know what kind of mental fucking gymnastics your brain starts to do and things that you are morally anchored to in the civilian world. I mean, I don't know. When bullets are whizzing by your head, do you snap? Is there a case for temporary insanity? I don't know. I don't know. But how you could, I do not understand fundamentally how you slaughter, how you as an American soldier, supposedly the good guys, I don't understand how you can just point your weapons at children and just slaughter them. And just like they're roaches, like they're ants. I mean, I don't know. Was Lieutenant Calley a monster who ordered, or was Lieutenant Calley just a broken field officer who had just broke, the brain snapped? And in which case, do we handle him and his punishment differently? You know, I don't know. The My Lai massacre is a very troubling incident in Americans' past. And it led to this in 1973. It took 2 years, but yeah, that was one of the primary reasons. On this day in 1973, during the Vietnam War, the last United States combat soldiers leave South Vietnam. On this day, we won! Because we said we did while we were leaving. On this day in 1984, oh, I remember this day. I was a little football meathead on this day. This was crazy. This was, what? They can't do that. I mean, I didn't care. I actually thought it was cool because there was now a new football team close to me, right, in Indianapolis. It was on this day in 1984 that the Baltimore Colts loaded all of their possessions from their offices in the middle of the night and drove to Indianapolis. Told nobody that they were moving. Okay, you wake up tomorrow and you learn that the Dallas Cowboys have moved everything out of the Star in Frisco, loaded it up into trucks, and we're moving them up to a new complex that they'd purchased in Tulsa. The Tulsa Cowboys, you wake up tomorrow morning and that's a real thing. And that is what the people of Baltimore woke up to this morning in 1984. Oh, but the Colts, oh, no, that's just Baltimore. These are the Dallas Cowboys. That would be a bigger deal. Bitch, the Baltimore Colts were a monster franchise. The Baltimore Colts were the Dallas Cowboys. Before the Dallas Cowboys were even a thing, this country had the Baltimore Colts. Johnny Unitas, are you kidding me? Weeb Eubank, right? But what a shit ton of titles. The Baltimore Colts were one of those untouchable franchises for a period. And then on one day, 1984, the people of Baltimore woke up and learned that their team scuttled out of town in the middle of the night and were now rebranding as the Indianapolis Colts. That's crazy. That's crazy. Look, a lot of teams have moved, whether baseball, basketball, football. A lot of teams have moved in my lifetime, but that's the one that was like, what? You can't do that. Can't just, how did they keep it a secret? I have no idea. On this day in 1999, the Dow Jones Industrial Average closes above $10,000. Whoa, I'm sorry, $10,000. 10,000 mark. Sorry. First time it's ever done this. This was at the height of the .com bubble. 10,000! We're making so much money. We're making so much money. We hit 10,000 for the first time. We're up at like 30,000 now. We're up 99. So 24 years ago. 24 years ago on this day. It was 10,000. Here he goes. That's my co-host, schizophrenic me. We, the middle class, have not experienced that kind of growth in the past 24 years. As a matter of fact, we've been constricted with everything. Yet whenever you hear people complaining, and I'm talking about the 1% here, as I do this show from the 1%er compound in beautiful Highland Park, Texas, one of America's wealthiest zip codes, surrounded by the 1%er class. They have not been affected. They haven't been affected at all. We're routine. We're well over. What are we at? What's the Dow at right now? 10,000. It was a huge deal. It's everybody's making money. Times are good. Didn't really trickle down to the middle class. Now did it? No, it didn't. 23 years later, we, the middle class, the working people of this country, are being strangled with inflation and all. Well, where's the Dow at today? Dow Jones Industrial Average. 32,654. It's also up. It's up 260 points today. 32,000 is where the stock market is at. On this day in 1999, we were freaking out. The dot-com bubble was the greatest thing ever. Oh my God, everybody was getting rich. It was only at 10,000. It had never been at 10,000 before. Now it is. That is how big the market has expanded for those people who are, heavily invested in the market, which is traditionally in this country, people of means. Now, the working class people, what we tend to do is we get involved in the bonds and, those kinds of the safe investments for our retirements. Oh, those are the ones that get wiped out first. Just so you know, those are the ones that nothing can happen with this. This is insured by the government, the bank. Come on, Shearson Lehman isn't going to go out of business. Are you kidding me? You guy who's been a janitor in a public school in Idaho for the last 50 years, your money is safe. No, it's not. It's our money that goes away first. Just see the mortgage crash of 2008. See what's happening right now. So, recapping, in the 23 years since, the stock market has expanded 3 times itself. It was at 10. It was a huge deal when it got to 10,000. And now it's at 30,000. All I'm saying is B-level influence. I guess there weren't even influencers. I'm just saying people didn't have private jets in the 80s. You know who had private jets in the 80s? Like Adnan Khashoggi. Maybe a Warren Buffett, right? There was like 5 guys with private jets in the 1980s. Now everybody's got them. Now, professional sports teams flew on commercial airliners until the 1980s. Of course, back then, a professional NFL team was worth about $50 million. And now it's worth, I don't know what, $6 billion? So, yeah. Since this day in 1999, when the Dow Jones Industrial Average broke the 10,000 mark and everybody thought it was magnificent, since that day, it has grown 3 times its size. Let me ask you, since that time, has your personal wealth and security grown 3 times? No. So once again, those of us in the middle who are all pissed off about where chicks or dudes in dresses piss, that's the distraction. Where dudes in dresses piss should not have me fighting with my neighbor, right? Me and my neighbor should be like, let's go fucking hang Bill Gates. That's what we should be like. I'm kidding. That's a joke. That was satire. I'm certainly not calling for that. I was hypothetically talking about a neighbor I don't even know. Do you see how careful you have to be these days? It's another problem with the whole gotcha thing. Anyway, on this day in 2017, Prime Minister Theresa May, that's a weird right turn. Prime Minister Theresa May invokes Article 50 of the Treaty on the European Union, which formally began the United Kingdom's withdrawal from the European Union. That has been one of the worst. That was the canary in the coal mine, really, for the madness that we have here in America, where the stupid people started being listened to. That's because that's what happened in England. The stupid people won that vote. The stupid England doesn't, this is not good for England. This is not good for England in any way. But, they're stuck doing it, and times are bad. How many prime ministers have they had since the Brexit vote? They have you think that our Congress is pretty divided. Theirs is too. They keep throwing out prime ministers because they can't get a consensus. There was just a vote a couple of months ago of no confidence in the prime minister. So, yeah, it was on this day that they formally began the process of making the biggest mistake they've made as a nation. Because the idea is, we're England, we can be an isolationist nation. And then all of a sudden on your doorstep, you've got this confederacy of European nation states that are 100 times stronger than you. All of a sudden, you're Rhode Island. That's what England is now. England is now Rhode Island. And they did it to themselves. Whatever. Let's do some births on this day. Oh, and by the way, when I say it's the rise of the stupid people, where people were listening to stupid people, I'm one of the stupid people. I'm one of the stupid people who you should not be listening to for any kind of real important life-saving advice. Just to make that clear. Let's do some birthdays. Let's celebrate some birthdays. People born on this day. Born on this day in 1790, John Tyler. We only mention him because he was a former president. 10th president of the United States. Total spare. But you got to mention presidents. You got to. Even if they're as spare as John Tyler. Born on this day in 1867, Cy Young, American baseball player, manager, considered to be the greatest pitcher of all time. Although I go at that. Cy Young, of course, the best pitcher of the year in each league is awarded the Cy Young trophy, award, plate, plaque, whatever. I would like to see, I don't believe there's any way to truly do this because I don't think that there is any statistical representation of Cy Young. Like, do we have stop motion pictures of his, form, how he pitched? We don't know how fast he threw. I mean, I'd love to see film of what a Cy Young curveball looked like. What did his junk look like? Because everybody from, Tris Speaker to Ty Cobb, Cy Young was the greatest of all time. So I would love to see him stand in against like a Trey Turner or a Paul Goldschmidt or Mike Trout, I want to see that. I would love to see, because I don't know. Here's what I think about baseball. I think that you might have had cavemen that could throw a rock 110 miles an hour, right? We don't know, because I think that's just strength. Now there might be technique that increases that was discovered later in the 70s, 80s, 90s, whatever. But I don't know. I somehow just think the brute force of throwing a fastball, that would almost have to be consistent through time, I think. I don't know. Anyway, I'd love to see Cy Young pitch against a modern player. I'd love to see what that looks like. Born on this day in 1918, Pearl Bailey. No idea who Pearl Bailey was, but I'm Gen X and I come from the 80s, and Pearl Bailey was on TV all the time. Smiling, lovely black grandmama type lady. Oh, when Pearl Bailey came out, you couldn't help but smile. Pearl Bailey and her white people antithesis, Minnie Pearl. Those two. I don't know what Pearl Bailey or Minnie Pearl did, but it's like they were both everywhere. They were ubiquitous of the time. Yeah. Happy birthday, Pearl Bailey. Oh, it says she's an actress. Oh, and a singer. All right. Born on this day in 1928, Vincent Gigante. Oh, Pug's going to put on his mafia hat. We're going to talk a little mafia here for a minute. Vinny the Chin. That's who we're talking about here. We're talking about Vinny the Chin Gigante. He ran, he started out as Lucky Luciano's boy. He worked with Lucky Luciano, and then he ended up with the Lucchese family, I think. Did he head was he the head of the Lucchese family or the Genovese family? Because I know that, the Lucchese family became the Genovese family. Okay, we're working it through in my head. So Vinny the Chin was the head of the Lucchese crime family. Vinny the Chin is famous for killing Frank Costello, head of the Gambino family. No, Costello was head of what family? Gambinos. Yeah, it was Gambinos. He killed Frank Costello. He was behind a number of hits against John Gotti. Vinny the Chin, famous. He was known in the later 30 years of his life as the Odd Father. The Odd Father, because he was every day. He would take an ambling walk down the streets of Greenwich Village wearing bath slippers and a robe. And he would mutter to himself, and he would act all crazy. And he did this every day for 30 years. Vinny the Chin Gigante, the Odd Father, pretended he was nuts for 30 years because he knew that he was being watched by the FBI. So every day, the way some people would go to the gym every day and work out, every day Vinny the Chin would put on his bathrobe, his crazy person slippers, and he would go for a walk around his neighborhood muttering to himself because he knew the FBI was watching, going, this dude's crazy. We can't bring charges against him. He'd never be fit to stand trial. And that was his gig. And then, he finally got caught doing something else, and he went to jail. And part of his plea bargain was he admitted that for 30 years he was pretending to be crazy. And at this point, he's just an old man. He wants to die. Called Vinny the Chin because he was a boxer. Famously, I guess if you watch Godfather of Harlem, did you guys watch Godfather of Harlem? Oh, it's so good. Oh, my God. It's the true story of Bumpy Johnson, who was a drug dealer gangster who ran Harlem in the 1960s and 1970s. Bumpy Johnson, Frank Lucas, American Gangster, in the movie American Gangster. Okay, so Frank Lucas, Denzel Washington, the character in American Gangster. Frank Lucas was Bumpy Johnson's right-hand guy. So when Bumpy Johnson went away, Frank Lewis became American Gangster. But before that, it was Bumpy Johnson. And Bumpy Johnson is played by Forrest Whitaker. And it's the story of how he controlled Harlem in the 1960s and how he had to deal with the 5 families of New York. Now, one of the main guy, the main gangster that he fights with is Vinny the Chin Gigante, and he's played by Vincent D'Onofrio. So if you watch Godfather of Harlem, Vincent D'Onofrio is Vinny the Chin Gigante. Born on this day in 1928, one of the most interesting mobsters of the past 50 years. Vinny the Chin Gigante. Born on this day in 1943, Vangelis, Greek musician, songwriter. Now, the reason I mention this is because I've heard the name Vangelis. Born in 1943? Man, if you'd asked me yesterday, you know who Vangelis is? I'd go, yeah, like classical music. They'd be like, when was he born? I'd be like 1750. Dude, born in 1943, got a name like Vangelis playing classical music. He's gonna be misplaced throughout history. Born on this day in 1943, umbilical cousins with Vangelis, Eric Idle. Eric Idle of Monty Python. Monty Python draft! Monty Python character, Monty Python personality draft. Okay, Monty Python troop member draft. Nope, not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. I love Monty Python so much, I refuse to single out the performances. The only one I think I can say is that Terry Gilliam, the American in Monty Python who did all the animation, he's different. So I wouldn't include him with Palin and Idol and Cleese and who else am I missing? No, Terry. Who's the other Terry? No, Terry. I don't know, whatever. I refuse. Happy birthday, Eric Idle. You are one of my favorites. Eric Idle always played the best looking woman. Monty Python always dressed like women. Eric Idle was always the one that you were like, yeah, okay, I could, yeah, I mean, not great, but, not terrible as a woman. Born on this day in 1955, Earl Campbell. Earl Campbell, man. All right, chillins, gather round. I've listened to your stories of Derrick Henry. Let me tell you about a man named Earl Campbell. Let me tell you about the way Earl Campbell used to play football. Was he injured? Was it injury stuff that finally slowed him? Because that MFer was a freight train. Pride of Texas, UT. That's right. One of the greatest running backs in the history. The greatest? Is he the greatest running back in the history of UT? I'm going to go ahead and say Earl Campbell, greatest running back in the history of UT. Houston Oilers, which is interesting because you would say, the Oilers never had. Derrick Henry plays for the Tennessee Titans, which is it's the Houston Oilers, right? The Houston Oilers moved to Tennessee. The greatest, scariest running back in the history of the Houston Oilers was Earl Campbell. And theoretically, they play for the same team. It's Earl Campbell and Henry play for the same team. So, I don't know, that's interesting. Oh, could you imagine a Derrick Henry, Earl Campbell backfield? Oh, my God. Oh, and then give me like a Justin Fields quarterback type. Oh, no defense would be able to stop that. Got a feeling the running game's coming back. I just got a feeling that the running game, with the motioning of the quarterbacks and the quarterbacks becoming more, the position of quarterback, it seems there used to be the most important thing a quarterback could do was remain calm in the pocket and allow the play to develop. That doesn't seem to be the most important thing a quarterback can do anymore. Seems the most important thing a quarterback can do now is create a play after everything went to shit, which just tells you that defenses are good too, right? Defenses are out there trying. So everything the offense does, even if everybody does their job perfectly correct, There's still a guy on the other side of the ball who's trying. I think that would be good. I think Derrick Henry. Imagine Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, and Lamar Jackson. Just imagine that. How are you going to stop that? You don't have. How fast are your linebackers going to be? You better have some really fast. You better have some 4-4s playing across your middle because they're getting the edge. Let's see here. Well, actually, no, just the quarterback's getting the edge. The other guys are just going to bang your ass up the middle. Oh, that's the other problem. How are you going to be fast enough to get the edge to stop Lamar Jackson, but then also be big and sturdy enough to stop a head-on collision with Derrick Henry or Earl Campbell? All right, I'm going to move away from football because I realize people don't love it when I go into my sports talk. Maybe it's because my ego demands that I prove that I could fucking do sports talk. I could be a great sports talk personality. Maybe that's it. Born on this day in 1955, Brendan Gleeson, Irish actor. I love me some Brendan Gleeson. You've seen The Banshees of Inisherin? Have you seen In Bruges? First of all, I adore the friendship between Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson. These two dudes are like best friends. In real life, they're like best friends. Brendan Gleeson is awesome. And so good in The Banshees of Inisherin. Nominated for Best Actor, Best Supporting Actor. Did he win? Did Brendan Gleeson win? I don't even know. I don't even care. In my heart, he won. Brendan Gleeson is an apex actor. He is tremendous. Happy birthday to you, Brendan Gleeson. We could do a Brendan Gleeson draft, but here's the problem. A whole lot of the really great Brendan Gleeson roles have been in like small Irish movies, that maybe you're not familiar with, that nobody's seen. I will say this. Here's another reason why I love Brendan Gleeson. Because in the film Michael Collins, about the revolution of Ireland, about the Michael Collins, who was basically the George Washington of Ireland. He basically fought the British in the 1920s. Anyway, in the movie Michael Collins starring Liam Neeson, Brendan Gleeson plays Michael Collins, the true historic guy, Michael Collins' chief of intelligence, a guy by the name of Liam Tobin, who we believe is directly descended from our family from St. Albans Parish in Ireland. So look at that. So Brendan Gleeson plays a descendant of mine in the film Michael Collins. Not to be confused with Michael Clayton. I do that a lot. A lot of times when I'm drunk talking about how good Michael Collins is, I'll call it Michael Clayton. And then people will like, wait a second, that wasn't a movie about the Irish Revolution. That was a George Clooney movie. And I'll be like, oh, yeah, that's Michael Clayton. Michael Collins is the other movie. Still got to make my son watch that. I'm slowly putting all of this Irish history and culture and ethnic stuff into my kid's head. Can't do it, I can't beat him over the head with it because then he'll resist. He's not resisting. He's totally into it, but just gotta be careful. Born on this day in 1964, another birthday we're celebrating, Elle Macpherson. Oh, there was a period of time where she was number one on my list of the most beautiful women on the face of the earth. Elle Macpherson. God, she was gorgeous. I bet she's still gorgeous. There is no degradation of that. If you are starting out from a place where 23-year-old Elle Macpherson was, like back in 1985 or something like, if that's where you're starting, when you're 70, you're going to be all right. You're going to be fine. I think what is she today? What is Elle Macpherson? 1964. 59. Okay, so she's almost 60. I bet she's still beautiful. Here's another one. Here's another beautiful lady that we can all talk about celebrating a birthday today. Born on this day in 1968, Lucy Lawless, Xena, warrior princess. Fun fact concerning me and Lucy Lawless. I never really got it. I was never into the Xena thing. I had friends like, dude, Xena's hot. And I was always like, yeah, dude, she looks good. Yeah, that's fine. But I was never it never clicked for me. Do you know when it clicked for me with Lucy Lawless? When she did a turn on a couple of episodes of Curb Your Enthusiasm. Playing herself. She was playing Lucy Lawless, and she started dating Larry for a couple of episodes. Larry couldn't believe he was dating Xena, warrior princess. But it was a really funny arc of a couple of episodes where Xena, Lucy Lawless, was actually just playing Lucy Lawless, the actress in Hollywood, dating Larry David, the creator of Seinfeld. And she was hot. She was like that version of Lucy Lawless, just as like a normal woman wearing normal modern clothes. She's got a sexy Australian accent. She was funny. So I've come around on Lucy Lawless. I like her. Born on this day in 1968. Born on this day in 1976. Jennifer Capriati, former number one world ranked tennis player, retired. I mean, she's obvious. She's born in 76, so she's not playing anymore. Jennifer Capriati was a very interesting and very scandal-ridden player, if you remember her back in the 80s. And when you go back and you look at all the scandals that she was involved in, you're like, what? What? She was 15 years old and she stole a bracelet from a mall. Like every 15-year-old girls, whatever. Then there was another one where they found her with pot. Like she had like a little bag of pot on her. Oh, really? 17-year-old with a bag of pot? Okay, no big deal. But that was a scandal. That was, when that one happened, she's a drug addict. She's 17 years old. She's been raised like tennis veal. You think she had you think you get to be the number one ranked woman on the planet at 17 years old and go to prom? You think you get both of those things? You think you get that and Girl Scouts? You don't. So cut Jennifer Capriati some slack. She didn't do anything wrong. She's fine. I met her once. I interviewed. There was some women's tennis tour that was coming through, and we did a radio interview with a bunch of women's tennis players. Steffi Graf was in there. Jennifer Capriati, and somebody else was another girl. Who was the one that was, I don't know. Anyway, here's what I remember about Jennifer Capriati. Troubled. Like she didn't do any of the talking, one-word answers. She didn't smile. And she was probably 21, 22 at this time. She seemed like 76, 80, no, so she would have been 76, 86. She would have been 20. Okay, so she'd only been 20. And it was like, you can tell she didn't enjoy it. Like she was number one in the world because she was forced to be number one in the world, obviously by a parent who didn't allow her to join Girl Scouts, but instead had to hit like 1,000 balls perfectly every night before bed. Jennifer Capriati, happy birthday to you. How about some deaths? A couple of people passed away on this day. We're going to dot the cap again to another baseball great. Ted Kluszewski, that's right. Ted Kluszewski, American baseball player, coach, Hall of Famer. Ted Kluszewski made his bones with the Cincinnati Reds, but we White Sox fans will always remember him handling first base for the 1959 Go White Sox. Big clue. Ted Kluszewski, man could hit a baseball. And, you know, these guys that were bombers, this is another thing we talked about Cy Young. Dude, these guys like Ted Kluszewski. Okay, Ted Kluszewski is rumored to be one of the most powerful hitters in the history of baseball, right? But he played at the time, played back in, olden times. So we don't have a whole lot of stats or measurements or anything, to figure out how it has a big dude who just teed off on balls. And here's why it's extra impressive. And this is why you have to give these hitters, these guys who hit 50 home runs, like 10 times in their career, or whatever it was, back in, 1960. You guys, these ballparks back then, some of them had 600-foot outfields. When a guy hits 61, we all went into Aaron Judge, great season. Aaron Judge plays his home games in Yankee Stadium, which is an absolute bandbox. Now, Yankee Stadium has always been small compared to other. Ted Kluszewski played the bulk of his career in Cincinnati, one of the largest outfields in baseball. He was cranking 50 home runs a year in a ballpark that, today's guys, they'd be pop-outs. They'd be shallow pop-outs to the outfield. This guy was cranking balls. Big clue, Ted Kluszewski. Those stadiums back then, man, they were no joke. They were, if you were a power hitter and you routinely hit big blast home runs, 5, 6, 7, 8 rows into the center field bleachers, and that's like a 500-foot blast. By today's standards, but you look at the outfields today, it's like 340? It's like, what are you talking about? That's a chip shot. I hate Yankee Stadium. I hate Yankee Stadium because of that right field porch. The famous right field porch. The Yankees have more home run hitters throughout history than anyone else. Yeah, because it's not hard to hit a 285-foot home run, bending towards the foul pole into right field. And I don't know that that's the exact number, but it's absurd, the right field numbers in Yankee Stadium. I'm surprised they don't have first base 3 feet closer to home at Yankee Stadium, because that seems like something very Yankee. We will move on. Ted Klaczynski, happy birthday to you, or happy death day. Yeah, never mind. Not a birthday, Ted. I'm sorry. Patty Duke died on this day in 2016. Patty Duke, America's sweetheart, America's girl next door. Patty Duke. Who didn't love Patty Duke? Here's what I love about Patty Duke. I love Patty Duke. Patty Duke was America's girl next door, America's goody-goody. She was a sexually empowered 1960s young woman. She was banging everybody. Patty Duke liked to have sex with different partners. That's all I'm going to say about it. So much so that Patty Duke's got a kid, and we all know him, Rudy, Sean Astin. You know Sean Astin, the actor? Sean Astin. That's Patty Duke's kid. It was like 20 years of that kid's life. They didn't know who the dad was. John Astin, John Gomez Adams from the Addams Family. John Astin, who was with Patty Duke at that time, gave him his name, and so the kid. But I don't think John Astin's the father. Like, I think it turned out that the fathers of Sean Astin is somebody. Anyway, Patty Duke. You go, girl. You live your life. You only get one of them. If you have access to pleasure, I say go for it. All right, that's going to do it. She died on this day in 2016. Let's talk about the shit that's trending, which, at least for the first part of this nonsense, is not going to be fun. I'm just warning you. Let's see. Let me jump into this chat room. Let me see what some of you kids are saying. Adam says, what's Adam got going? Adam says here, I used to love tennis and say her both men's and women's. She wasn't number one at 17, had to verify was 25 when she finally hit it and won her first Grand Slam. Oh, I can always count on Adam to fact check on minutia. Okay, she's a former number one. I don't know. All I'm saying is at 17, she was on her way to being number one, and you don't get to do that and have Girl Scout experiences. She seemed like a sad person, is my point. More on Jennifer Capriati. She was one of the first to play two-handed in both sides. I don't know what that means. I don't know anything about tennis. I know who the famous people are. Jen says, guys I knew back then thought she was hot. What was she hot? Was she hot? Was it just creepy old men? Because she was like 17. I don't know if she was hot. I don't know. I mean, hot? Like, what is hot? Like, oh man, like Megan Fox is hot. Like Megan Fox is like, I don't know, cute, dateable, girl next door, perfectly acceptable. You know, like, yeah. I mean, she's cute. You know, I don't know. Oh, what else do we have here? What else are you guys saying in the chat room? Oh, we got Mark in here. Hi, Mark. Apparently my friend Mark has changed his phone number, or he's just not returning text messages. It's okay. Mark's lucky. I love him. All right, let's get into the subjects of today. That offered us a nice little sorbet so that we can talk about things. First of all, I don't know what the hell is going on here, guys, but I was distracted for about 45 minutes this morning putting this show together. I wake up, I go through all the newspapers, I find the stories that I think are interesting, the ones that seem to be trending, things that have the most comments, I compile them and I give them to you here now in this form. But I was distracted for about 45 minutes today because there was some nonsense going on in the world, man. There was all of a sudden, so you know how I have these alerts for big police events on my scanner. I get these alerts. Man, my alerts were going off all morning. First of all, there are 3 current active shooter investigations going on at high schools in Pittsburgh. Right now. 3 of them. It's been going on for hours. Catholic high school, yes, Pittsburgh Catholic High School. Pittsburgh Catholic Central High School, the University of Pittsburgh. Breaking. Okay, here we go. Breaking now. Lockdowns at University of Pittsburgh, Central Catholic, and Oakland Catholic in Pittsburgh have been lifted after several hoax calls were reported at several Pennsylvania high schools. This morning, like half the high schools in Pittsburgh have been shut down because they're doing these hoax calls. So that's going on. I'm trying to find that. Then all of a sudden, Utah. Bloop. Active shooter at a Utah high school. I'm watching that. Hoax. That one turns out to be hoax. Couple of minutes later, active shooter alert, North Carolina high school. I'm not done. Active shooter alert, Portland, Oregon high school. Active shooter alert, Indiana high school. Active shooter alert, New York high school. What is going on today? Yeah, Jeff raises the question, actual active shooter or swatting? I mean, obviously, all of these that are occurring today, right now, thankfully, they're swattings. Swatting is the act of calling in a fake situation that would require a SWAT team. There you go. That's what swatting is. So I don't know, guys. But here in the time that we've been on, let me see what's happened. Let's just pull up. Hold on, sorry. I'm just trying to see what in the last, if anything, any new. Scanner radio. Okay, so what's this one? All right, so let's go to this one. This one just came up at 12:44.
That is not you. Hold on.
All right, now this is Utah again. This is Utah.
Yeah, I was going to say we don't have that school in our jurisdiction.
All right, we've got a third swatting or active shooter alert at a Utah school happening right now. Although,
hey, do we have anybody in the B building with a master key to get back in classroom?
What is going on? I mean, this is. All right,
I'm headed to the B building, so I'm going to send a faculty member up towards the B building.
All right, now here's the alert. Multiple hoax threats have been phoned in at schools across Utah, Pennsylvania, and 5 other United States. Wow, that's a weird way to phrase it. 5 other United States.
70 on 1023.
All right, so this is the latest one. This is the third one now going on in Utah. The third one of the day. Is this coordinated somehow? Like, are these kids meeting in Reddit chat rooms? I don't know how that shit works, but you know what I mean? What do we do about this now? I mean, what do we do about, yes, it's better than actually shooting up a school, but Jesus, what do we do with these kids? What is the point, too? What you want to get out of school? I mean, my God. All right. Moving on. So we've got all of these things going on. I've still got these alerts set, so I'll be checking in on them every so often to see if anything new is happening. But as of right now, there are multiple active shooter investigations in progress at high schools. I have not seen elementary school. So that's why I wonder if this is just something coordinated among a group of like high school students somewhere. Because it doesn't seem that, at least the ones that I've been able to jump in on and track even momentarily today, they've all concerned high schools. So that's good. Bunch of high schools. So now let's talk about the Nashville shooter. Okay? Let's talk about this weirdo. Yeah, it's probably like, she's a freak. She's a monster. She's a mutant. She's a beast. She did something that is so unbelievably unforgivable that I don't give a shit about any other sort of word that I can come up with to describe her. None of it has to do with the fact that she's trans, okay? It all has to do with the fact that she walked into a school and murdered little babies. That's it, okay? The fact that she's trans is just something that we can look into later. We can see what kind of mental issues she had. Well, actually, we don't even have to wait till later because that's why it's trending again. She had an emotional disorder and she was under the care of a doctor. while she purchased 7 guns from places around her neighborhood. 7 guns. She bought 7 guns in the last couple of months there in Tennessee. Just walked right in, bought them, whatever. Second Amendment right, go America. Walked in while currently under a psychiatrist's care for mental disorders. Happening at the same time. The mental disorder thing in no way got in the way of her being able to walk into a Dick's or a Walmart or whatever and buy whatever she wanted. I mean, can't we all agree that maybe that's someplace we can start? Maybe. Well, now just people who love guns aren't going to get psychiatric help. Oh, fuck you. Shut up. Let's see if that happens. At least on paper, this suggestion seems like it would do something. But no, it's not the case. Nashville shooter was under doctor's care for emotional disorder. She used 3 guns in the attack, according to police. New details are now emerging from Monday's shooting in Nashville that left 3 children and 3 adults dead when an assailant targeted a Christian school, making it the latest American community to be rocked by the despair and trauma of gun violence. So tired of that heavy-handed, let's get serious and talk about gun violence. Oh, you mean let's pretend to get serious and pretend to talk about gun violence? At a news conference on Tuesday, Metropolitan Nashville Police Chief John Drake said authorities had learned through interviews that the assailants' parents, that the shooter had legally purchased 7 firearms from 5 local gun stores in the last year. 3 were used in the attack at Covenant School, Drake said. Shooter's parents said that she, whom authorities identified as 28-year-old former student Audrey Hale, was under a doctor's care for emotional disorders. Law enforcement knew nothing about the treatment the shooter was receiving, but the parents felt the shooter should not own weapons. Parents didn't want her to own weapons, but parents who lived with her, who knew what she was going through, they were like, you shouldn't have weapons. And she said that she had gotten rid of them all. She had told the parents that she had gotten rid of her guns. They're like, you can't have guns if you're going to be staying in our house. You can't have guns. We need to get you well, Audrey. You're not doing well. You can't have guns. So she supposedly got rid of all the guns. She obviously just stashed them somewhere, right? But she didn't have them in the house because the parents were against her having guns in the house with her mental condition. The people who knew her best. And now I think it maybe played out something like, if you don't get rid of those guns, we're going to call the police, Audrey. You're going to leave us with no the last resort is that we have to call the police and we have to tell them that our mentally deranged daughter, who is under a doctor's care, is suddenly stockpiling guns. And then she probably went, fine, Mom, whatever, I'll get rid of them. Ugh. And then she made a big show of getting rid of the guns, and she probably just moved them into a storage locker or something. So parents say they are on record. But if the parents who knew her better than anybody else, were like, shouldn't have guns. But, there's a bunch of locally elected legislatures in Tennessee who are like, yeah, you know what? Every Second Amendment, everybody should have the right to get a gun. No, not everybody. Not fucking cuckoos. Can we at least agree that a crazy person shouldn't get a gun? And we can't even agree on that. So I ask you, just try and be objective. Just try and close your eyes, clear your mind, and just be objective. The person that won't even agree that crazy people shouldn't have access to AKs or AR-15s, I guess are more appropriately. The person who can't agree with that, there's a problem with that person, right? Can the rest of us just go, yeah. I don't care how, you can be an NRA member, you can be a Second Amendment advocate, you can have 100 guns yourself. But if you don't agree that people who are crazy and under a doctor's care should not have legal access to purchase new firearms, if you can't agree with that, you're fucking broken. You're fucking broken. Because that's just an obvious thing. And that's where we are with this conversation. So moving on. I'm so done with this fucking... I'm sorry. You know that whenever I get angry, I start dropping F-bombs. By the way, I was talking to my friend. My friend, Lee, has an assistant who's from England, right? She's from England. She's really sophisticated, great phone voice. I mean, it's part of the reason that he uses her as an assistant. So I called her because I had to arrange for something that I was working on with him. And she starts on, we got to do a nice little conversation. And she was describing a mutual friend of ours. And this is a woman. This is a sophisticated 20-ish British woman, right? She's describing a mutual person that we all know. And she described him as a right cunt. I just laughed. Because this is a woman. It's a very sophisticated woman who deals with very important people. And she's just talking to me and she's like, yeah, he comes in, he starts acting like a right cunt. And I just laughed. And I thought to myself, what a lovely word. Why have we demonized that word? I'm saying this because I know I just dropped a couple F-bombs. But why have we demonized? Why in America can't we have that word? The Brits have cunt and fag. Those are two fun words. Now, granted, fag is for cigarettes over there. I mean, not fun if you're being called it meanly, but you know what I mean? Like, just, they're fun. Like, fag. I mean, that's a fun, that's a fun word to say, and it shouldn't be used to dehumanize anybody, and it shouldn't be used as a cudgel to beat people. I get all that. But when I was a kid and I called you a fag, it wasn't because of your sexual orientation. It was because you threw funny. Or it was because, you did something I didn't like in the moment. Nice throw, fag. You know what I mean? It wasn't like I hate people who have sex with people of the same. That's not what it meant. And I now, as an older person, I come to understand that the way, it doesn't matter how we meant it, it was the normalization of that use and what it did to other people. I get that. I just want the word back. I want to be able to say it. If you're my friend, if you're my buddy, if you're in my immediate group of friends, and what you hear me say it all the time. I still say that word. I don't say it as like an anti-gay thing. I say it the way my gay friend says it. My gay friend says it more than anybody else. Well, he's gay, you can't. Oh, again with the words that one people can say and the other people can't. I don't like that. It's how words are used, not who is using them. So I'm sorry for saying the F word. But I want to bring cunt back, and to hear this lovely woman use it so casually in a way that would just drop the jaws of an American girl. Like, can you imagine an American girl walking around just casually using cunt? It's hysterical to me. The Brits have a couple of good words. They got a couple of good words that they get to have fun with. We don't. Tennessee gun laws are trending now. Why? Well, because all of that nonsense. And I said, just bear with me here for a couple of minutes because trust me, the stories today are going to get more fun. They're going to get more fun. We just got to get all this stuff out of the way. Let's see. What does it say here? Although Tennessee has the 10th highest gun rate of deaths in the country, they have the 10th highest gun rate of deaths. Although Tennessee has the 10th highest gun rate, tiny, small population. 10th highest. Although Tennessee has the 10th highest rate of gun deaths in the country, the state has only a few basic laws aimed at reducing gun violence. Indeed, legislatures in Tennessee have recently weakened the state's policies, eliminating the carry permitting requirement. So now you don't even have to be a registered carry handgun guy. It's fine. Okay. You can seal it. It used to be if you're going to carry, you got to open, you got to see it. People got to be aware. No, you can conceal it. That's fine. Half my friends that I run around with in Texas have guns on them. It's Texas. I feel like I'm a cowboy. I don't, but whatever. He does, and he does, and he does. Everybody does. You walk into a bar or a restaurant in Texas, you're like, there are so many guns in here, although responsible people will leave them in the car and stuff like that, but not everybody's responsible. That's the thing. Gun owners, when you buy the gun, you're so responsible. And then you immediately stop being responsible. You immediately stop. Well, I keep it in a lockbox. No, you don't. Sometimes you just put it in the dresser. Sometimes you just leave it under the bed. Sometimes, it really does depend. Some of you have kids too. Some of you do that shit with kids because you're just so comfortable being around guns and you don't see them for the tool of destruction that they could potentially be. They could also be a tool of security and a tool that could save your life. But also, let's be honest, kid crawls under the bed, grabs the gun that you don't have secured, pulls the trigger. Now it's an instrument of tragedy. We would all agree with that. So you gotta be careful with it. Although Tennessee has the 10th highest rate of gun deaths in the country, the state has only a few basic laws. Legislatures in Tennessee have recently weakened the state's policies, eliminating the carry permitting requirement, allowing nearly anyone in the state to carry loaded firearms in public, concealed or open. So allowing anyone in the state to carry loaded firearms in public, concealed or open, without a background check, without a permit, or without any safety training. The volunteer state does have several of the policies aimed at keeping guns out of the wrong hands. Well, good for them. Including prohibition for people convicted of felonies or hate crimes. Fugitives from justice. Oh, if you're a fugitive from justice, you can't have a gun. So that's illegal to have a gun when you're already an illegal fugitive. Fuck you and your stupid. We have to those who say we're in bed with the NRA, we have tightened gun laws. If you are on the run from the law and you have a gun, you're in trouble. See how ridiculous this shit is? Fucking duh. That's what I would say. Duh. Really? A fugitive on the run from the law shouldn't be allowed to have. Fuck you, dumbass, wasting our time. Nearly anyone in the state to carry loaded firearms in public, conceal or open carry. The volunteer state does have several of the policies aimed at keeping guns out of the wrong hands, including prohibition for people convicted of felonies or hate crimes, fugitives from justice, people who pose a danger due to mental health, and domestic abusers. Really? So crazy people, you're going to step up and go, they shouldn't have guns. Well, at least that was the common ground starting point that I was looking for earlier in the conversation, where reasonable minds can all admit that crazy people shouldn't get guns. Thank you, Tennessee. However, Tennessee, just the other day, a crazy person got a gun. So where's the flaw in your system? A crazy person under a doctor's care for the better part of a year purchased 7 guns locally in that time frame. 3 of them were used to slaughter children the other day. I love the law in Tennessee that says that crazy people or people who are in mental problems, I love that law. But how are you enforcing it? And how is it being regulated? Are you just not doing anything with it? Like if you're crazy, like if you do something stupid crazy, like you flip your lid and you run down the street banging pots and pans naked and you get thrown in, you're not going to get a gun. You can't get a gun. That person can't get a gun because of what they did. But there's fun crazy and there's bad crazy. Like that fun crazy person, that they may never have wanted to but we're just gonna let a whole bunch of other why, when you see a psychiatrist in the state of Tennessee, why aren't doctors or psychiatrists in the state of Tennessee when they believe that you could, why aren't they, why? Well, because doctor-patient privilege. Yeah, you're right. That is a thing. I don't know. It just seems feckless to me to have a law that says that people who we already know are crazy are wearing straitjackets and pounded out medications that keep them, take the edge off. To say that those people can't get guns, I mean, that's just like, duh. So you have to already be convicted. You have to already go through or not even institutionalized. You have to already go through all that. People who are with a psychiatrist currently, who are sitting down in Tennessee with a psychiatrist saying, man, I just I got filled with rage. I'm buying guns. What am I doing? I don't know why I'm buying guns. I'm in a really bad place. So in the state of Tennessee, that person, there's nothing, there's the doctor can't. I don't know what we do. Cross our fingers and hope to God it never happens to us. Now, this is some poor timing that is also trending. This was planned before what went down at the Covenant School in Tennessee. This has been planned for a while now. It's a big, there's a big march. There's a big protest going to happen in Washington, D.C. this Saturday. It is unfortunately branded. They branded it this before Audrey Hale went on a shooting spree a couple of days ago, killing a bunch of children in an elementary school. That's right. A trans advocacy group is holding their Trans Day of Vengeance rally Saturday in Washington, D.C. Trans radical activist network to hold demonstration outside the Supreme Court and march throughout Washington on Saturday. Trans Day of Vengeance. I mean, was it too late to get new posters made? This is just such an incredibly bad look. You're almost inviting, after the events of what occurred this week, and the way that people, especially the worst kind of people, are all ginned up about trans people are crazy. You're now going to hold an event called Trans Day of Vengeance? You don't think you're poking the bear a little bit too directly in the eyeball with that? You don't think that there could potentially be a bunch of crazy people who are going to take this opportunity to slaughter a whole bunch of trans people? I mean, look, the environment for it is ripe. You're calling after, and this is dangerous because you can't go, after one of your community members, we do that, right? We do that. I don't like groupthink. I don't like, all trans people are not the same, but whatever. Days after one of these people who identifies with the same situation that you guys are marching for did something terrible, did something that a lot of people want vengeance for. And you people days later are turning around, holding a rally in Washington, D.C. called Day of Vengeance, Trans Day of Vengeance. Come on, man, cancel this thing. This is going to be a problem. Stupid. Well, we've already put the deposit down and we can't get new posters made. Oh, stop it. What an ugly word. What a needlessly hyperbolic word for this particular day. Bad look, man. Bad look. I say all the time, some people just can't get out of their own way. Some people just can't help but trip over their own dicks. Ironically, that seems to be happening with the trans community this weekend. Get out of your own way, people. Cancel the trans vengeance rally in Washington. Regroup. Not a good time. I am someone who you could probably see as an ally. I don't get it all. I'm confused, but I have no hate in my heart, and I think that there's room for all of us to be who we want. So listen to me, a middle-aged white man who doesn't really give a shit about this whole issue, but does care about you, the human being. Stop it. Stop the rally on Saturday. There's no need for a Trans Day of Vengeance march. Had the event not happened, it would be understandable because the trans felt like a picked on community. But I'm telling you, we are a couple of days away from dead kids at the hands of... All right, do I dare jump in the chat room on this one? Frank Smith says Trans Day of Rage is on April 1st. Is that what they're calling it? Did they change the name? Because this is absolutely a Trans Day of Vengeance. I'm looking at the poster right now. There's a picture of a Trans Day of Vengeance will go ahead at Supreme Court despite Nashville school trans shooter Audrey Hale killing 6. Trans radical activist network to hold demonstrations outside the Supreme Court and at locations throughout Washington, D.C. An activist group is due to hold a Trans Day of Vengeance, as it's being called, demonstration outside the Supreme Court on Saturday, warning against astronomical amounts of hate from the world and following the horrifying Nashville shooting, which left 7 dead on Monday. The Trans Radical Activist Network, TRAN, will host the event in Washington, D.C. from March 31st until April 2nd, starting Friday and marching on the Supreme Court at 11 a.m. Saturday. Commenters are up in arms over the decision to go ahead with the protest as police say they are investigating the role of it. Yeah, see, we've already been through this. Yeah, I'm one of those commentators who are up in arms, not because I'm trying to quell the message, okay? Only because I'm saying, not the time, not the day. Within 1 week of this happening, that was shocking. You can't do it. You can trip over your own dicks. You can try and tuck them as best you can. You're going to trip on your own dicks on this one. You're going to hurt the cause. Don't do it. Don't do it. All right, what else do we have here? Oh, here's another one. Here's another. oh my God. I hate the culture war stuff, although I also kind of like it. So I jump into it because it really does get the juices flowing. But it's all for naught. It's all stupid. It's all a big waste of time because these culture wars are dumb. They're distractions. Why? Because we're stupid. We really are. We don't understand the really important issues because they're so fucking complicated. And we don't have political science degrees. We're not economists. We're not, you know what I mean? This stuff is really tired head. What do we understand? Culture wars. That's the shit. Gays shouldn't do this. Black guys be acting uppity. That man in a dress tried to pee next to my daughter. Those are the things that we can truly understand because it doesn't require a college degree, right? We don't need to know the gross domestic product of the Netherlands in order to engage in this kind of conversation. So that's why culture wars take such a hold on us, because it's shit we can talk about comfortably, as opposed to the other stuff where we don't really understand it and we're constantly afraid that we're going to say something wrong, and then what if the other person is smarter, and then you look dumb? You know, but when you're arguing about whether or not gays should get married, your Uncle Frank, he's an expert on that topic. He can go for an hour on that topic. What to do about the gas shortages in Europe and how to sort of slow roll that over the next decade so that no one European nation takes the proper or an improper hit. Your Uncle Frank don't know shit about that. Your Uncle Frank can't talk about that. Doesn't know about that. Doesn't understand the history of the border problems there. He doesn't get it. Whether or not gays should get married, that's Uncle Frank. Uncle Frank can go for a fucking hour on that. And that's why the culture wars are so fun. Because it is something we can all just get on. But ultimately, let's keep our eye on the ball. Ultimately, they mean nothing, and they are intended by a corporate-driven media to distract us from the things that we should really be educating ourselves about and truly care about. But we don't have that. All right, so this is trending, and I thought we could attach this with the Trans Day of Vengeance story that is trending. Kate Spade. Kate Spade is trending. You know who Kate Spade is? Kate Spade, I don't, because, I'm a heterosexual man who, doesn't buy handbags and stuff like that. But apparently, Kate Spade is a big handbag designer. Big designer. She's famous. She's very famous. Dead. She's dead, but she's famous. She killed herself a couple of years ago, shockingly. She was only like 55 or something, and she was one of the biggest designers in the world, and she just killed herself. Tragic story. Depression, mental health. See, it doesn't matter if you're Kate Spade. It doesn't matter if your handbags cost $2,000, right? Doesn't matter if you have a 10,000 square foot Manhattan penthouse apartment. You're just not happy, you're not happy. So anyway, Kate Spade, big fancy time bag, rich people bags, rich people stuff. I don't know, what, does she make dresses? I have no idea. Kate Spade, she's trending today. And I was like, why is she trending? She died a couple of years ago. She's trending because apparently the Kate Spade company has hired a new spokesmodel, which I guess is like, for like Instagram and stuff like that. And they chose a trans woman. That's the proper way to say it, right? A trans woman. This is a person who was born a man. I still struggle with this. I'll get it. Please, just give me time. Give my old head time. Again, way more likely an ally than I am somebody who's ever going to do anything to unnecessarily hurt you people. So just give me a little bit of time to work with this. So anyway, here I want to show you this because people are losing their shit because Kate Spade Company hired a trans influencer to be the new person that does their bags. And so they launched this ad today on Twitter. And oh my goodness, are people upset? It is hysterical. Here, you want to know what's so hysterical about this? I'm going to show... Oh, wait, I got to do this. I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to show you the video that's got everybody angry. But then what I find wonderful about it is that I clicked on hashtag Kate Spade and I started scrolling. It's all like, it's all like dudes with like goatees and like sunglasses and, patriot in their name, freedom. There's some American flag somewhere because they're trying really hard to let you know where they're coming from. trying too hard. It's not authentic when you're trying that hard. Anyway, it's always one of those guys, defines himself as an alpha male, right? And he's fucking crying like a snowflake over Kate Spade hiring a trans person. The fuck? Dude, go over to ESPN. What is wrong with you, alpha male? You shouldn't even know who Kate Spade is, let alone be triggered like the little snowflake bitch you are because some dude in a dress has now been chosen to represent the company virally. Stop. Are you fucking kidding me? The Kate Spade is trending because alpha males are upset. We're upset about $2,000 handbags. Fucking go away, man. See, you people are dumb. You're dumb, and I'm calling you out on it. You know what? Dumb. I shouldn't say dumb. You're silly. You're silly. That's what you are. Probably not dumb. You're silly. You're silly people. You're dis-serious people. So here, let me show you this. And then we're going to make fun of it because I got a problem with it for a whole bunch of other reasons, but we'll go for it here. So this is the new Kate Spade handbag campaign. Who is this person? Let's see. Women's alpha male Charles Downs is the guy whose video I'm using. Alpha male Charles Downs. He's a patriot. Women take to Twitter to announce Kate Spade boycott following Kate Spade hiring a Dylan Mulvaney to promote their women's clothing. All right. Okay, Charles R. Downs, alpha male. You get all the women upset. Go ahead. You seem very triggered by the state of handbags. You fucking snowflake. It's not serious. You're not serious people. And so easily triggered. Why? Because you're an emotional volcano. And to be easily triggered, your emotions, you have to have a hair trigger on it and it has to be very close to the surface. See, that's the opposite of somebody with depth. So you understand what it means when you say that person's deep. That means you got to cut really quick to really affect them because they know who they are, they're thoughtful, they're considered. That's the exact opposite of being a triggered little snowflake because some dude in a dress is now selling $2,000 handbags. The opposite of that. Charles is very upset. All right, here we go. I want you guys to see this because this is, I got other issues with this. Here you go. This is the new controversial Kate Spade handbag ad. She hired a dude in a dress. Alpha males are mad.
It all started with the first day of spring. I am at Kate Spade, New York to find the perfect spring outfit. Let's go! Kate Spade, New York is a staple in my wardrobe, and I think I absolutely need to have this as my spring bag. The mini bags are in. They're in. Let's go. You know I love pink, and I think the bag will go great with this. Let's try her on. You can always use another pair of heels, right? Let's go. Here's the full fit check. I love a puffy sleeve, and I added some jewelry because more is always more. And honestly, I think I'm gonna wear this out of the store. So happy spring. I love ya. I love you, Kate Spade, New York. Love ya. It all started.
So I don't know what the hell that was, but there you go. That's the ad that's got all the alpha males angry on Twitter. they're all twisted over some trans woman. Got the gig of a lifetime. It's probably really good for this person. I struggle. Her, right? She's a her. She wants to be a her. Whatever. What do you want, sweetie? What do you want? What do you want me to call you? I'm a respectful human. What do you want? Honestly, this is going to be the longest conversation we're ever going to have because you're kind of irritating. So just what do you want me to call you in this little exchange? And we'll get through it and it'll be fine. And then we'll never see each other again. That's how I would handle it. Be like, what, her? You? Oh, aren't you lovely? Well, she's a little firecracker, isn't she? I mean, I can see why. Here, let's talk about why Kate Spade did this. Kate Spade isn't upset about alpha male snowflake. They're not upset about pissing that guy off because you know why? That guy didn't even know what Kate Spade was until somebody on Newsmax ginned him up about it. That dude drives a tractor for a living. He doesn't know the first fucking thing about Kate Spade luxury handbags, but he does today. He's very angry. So I'm watching this, and first of all, what's this person's name? Dylan Mulvaney. Very irritating. Very irritating. Not because it's a guy in a truck. Again, I don't care about that stuff. The energy was very irritating to me. It seems, like fun, right? Richard Simmons energy. That's what it is. That's what this person has. Richard Simmons energy. And I'm gonna intellectually consistent to the end on this one. I have always been made to feel anxious around Richard Simmons. Richard Simmons was a regular on our radio show when I was a little kid, when I was just a producer, intern type. I used to have to corral Richard Simmons, and let me tell you something, that was not a fun job. You'd put Richard Simmons in the green room, and we'd be in a commercial break, and he'd be up next. And I'd report back to the studio. I go, Richard Simmons is in the green room. He's got his water. Everything's fine. How much time should I tell him? And the host would be like, 5 minutes to the break. Bring him down when you hear the, Chevrolet ad. Start bringing him down when you hear the Chevy commercial, and then we'll get him set up in the studio. Okay, will do, boss. I returned to the green room to tell Richard Simmons what had happened. He's gone! He's gone! And I'm hearing the commercials, and now I'm worried about a Chevy commercial coming on, and I don't have Richard Simmons. You know what? This is what I'm talking about. You know where he was? He was in the sales department leading a bunch of people in gymnastics. It was nuts. That's that Richard Simmons energy where it's just all over the place. So that's why I don't like this Kate Spade handbag ad. But honestly, I'm never fucking buying a Kate Spade handbag. I should not even be. But this person seems a little bit over the top. You just don't like them because they're trans. No, not really. Actually, it's kind of hot. Chick's kind of hot. She makes a nice looking chick. Give him that. Flat chested, but whatever. A nice looking chick. It's not because they're trans. It's because of that energy. It's because of I don't like people who are always on. The people who are always like forcing it. Flamboyance. That's another thing. I do not enjoy a flamboyant character. Flamboyant characters that's Richard Simmons. That's what drives me. This person's too flamboyant for me. There you go. Let's boycott Kate Spade because they hired somebody who's just too flamboyant for the current American climate. She's too flamboyant. It's not because she's trans. It's because she's flamboyant. The Ohio River is trending. It's another one that's going on here. Man, the Ohio River. This is, I mentioned this last night on Twitter. All the shit that has happened to the Ohio River in the last couple of months, it is the Tina Turner of tributaries. The Ohio River has been abused to no end. So there's a bunch of barges in the Ohio River. So we had the train derailment and then the poop fire and the fucking chemicals and dead fish and dead deer and dead dogs. And, the Ohio River, it glistens. It's a different color now. What did they call it on Saturday Night Live? They referred to the Ohio River because of its multicolored sheen on top, all the colors of the rainbow represented on the top. They called it River by Fenty. That's what the Ohio River is now. River by Fenty. It's a river wearing makeup. So that was already going on. A bunch of barges somewhere outside Louisville on the Ohio River broke their their barge lines. We're going to call it that. They broke their barge lines, and they're capsizing, and they're submerging, and they're going under. And the problem is that one of these barges has 10,000 pounds. Here, I'll get it for you. Right. It's a whole bunch of methanol. It's like 15. Basically, it's 15 semi-trailers filled with Newports. It's methanol. It's a bunch of methanol. It's imagine 15 semis filled with cartons of Newports and Cools. And they dump them in the water. What effect's that going to have? I don't know. People are freaking out, though, because you can't put that kind of menthol into that. That's a lot of menthol to be dumping into the water. I don't know. Dead fish. We're going to have dead fish. Can you drink the water? Is that a thing? Hold on. The story isn't booting up. I don't know. Do we even need the story? Kentucky crews working to remove 3 runaway barges that are stuck in the Ohio River, including one containing methanol. There is, however, no evidence at this time of a chemical leak. Crews in Kentucky are trying to remove 3 runaway barges, one of which is carrying a highly flammable compound, methanol, and is partially submerged in the Ohio River near Louisville. 7 of the 10 barges that broke loose against the McAlpine Dam have been recovered as of Tuesday afternoon. So I don't know what happened, but whatever. There's a big giant boat filled with Newport cigarettes, and it's sinking to the bottom of the Ohio River, and people are worried about what's that going to mean? It ain't really Newport cigarettes. It's the chemical methanol. I don't know what methanol does. The urban community seems to enjoy it in their cigarettes. I'll leave it at that. Oh, that's racist. No, it's not. Newports and menthol cigarettes are wholly marketed to the American black community. That's just a fact. There are documentaries about that. So please, stop it. California is trending because this is, okay, so we know that the last couple of months, crazy weather in California, right? On top of the earthquakes and all that stupid stuff. They got snow. Remember there was a blizzard? It's snowing in San Francisco. Remember those videos that were going around? Then they got rain. They got rain for 4 months. It was 4 months of buckets and the whole, remember California was completely submerged? Anyway, a whole bunch of really bad things were happening for California. However, this crazy little world, ain't it? The biggest problem facing California before this rash of insane weather, the biggest problem facing California was drinkable water, potable water, water reserves. They had no water. California is lousy with water now, baby. That's right. All of the reservoirs have been filled back up. California is lousy with fresh drinking water, thanks to all these terrible storms and everything that they've had. So, a lot of new problems were created with the storms, that's for sure. But one major life-sustaining problem that was really bearing down on California, totally fixed. Thank you, God. Thank you, Mother Nature. Whatever. Sorry, thousands of people had to lose their homes in order for you to make this ecological correction, but we got there. Also in California, here's a fun one. This is fun. I like this story. My boy Rick sent this to me, so thank you to Rick for being an associate producer on this story. Rick Bradley sent me the story this morning, and then I saw it elsewhere. I guess there's a bill in California that wants to eliminate racist police dogs. Racist police dogs. That's right. Apparently dogs all bark and no bite. Fury as new bill proposes banning California's racist police dogs from being used to chase criminals or crowd control purposes. Here's what I like about this story. I don't like that they had to somehow shoehorn race into here. Now, I understand that the crux of this story is to explain that over time, dogs have been used unequally against people of color during police interactions than they have with white people. Well, they say that it goes back, there's a history of slave owners releasing dogs on runaway slaves. So there's a whole kind of thing going on here, right? So I don't know about all that. And I certainly know that dogs are not racist. I know that's a joke. My dog was racist, whatever, a black guy, I don't get. That's not a thing, okay? At least it's not a thing in the way that we define racism. It's just not. Dogs do not. Stop it. Dogs aren't racist. My dog hates black people. Okay, that might be. Your dog might hate people with that color, but it doesn't mean they're racist, not in the way that humans are racist against one another. It's not that. It's a different, something else going on. I don't know what it is. I don't even know if it is going on, but whatever. California, they got racist police dogs. And they're trying to make them illegal. California's police dogs may soon be all bark and no bite if a bill banning them from biting suspects is passed into law. In a move that has outraged police officers, the proposal claims canine dogs are racist because the majority of suspects who are bitten are black. And supporters of the bill say that dogs trigger black Americans because the animals were used in the final days of slavery. There you go, to hunt down runaway slaves. All right, so here. Okay. Let me get a drink, because I love my favorite topic. Honestly, my favorite topic. The one that makes James Parker shit his pants. My favorite topic is race talk. Talk about racial relations, specifically between white and black people. I'm fascinated by this subject. I would do a show where all we do is talk about this. Parker doesn't like it. I don't know. Here's why I am completely comfortable with it, because I know that there's in no way, shape. I know I'm not racist. Like I know how I feel about other people. I'm the only one who can know that. Maybe I can say things or share a point of view that you then use to conclude that he's a racist. That's fine. You go ahead, you do that. But I know who I am. And the people in my life know who I am. So I'm comfortable having the awkward and difficult conversations about white guy, black guy. I'm comfortable with it. There is no malice. There's no hatred. My end of the conversation does not originate from a position of authority. Okay, so it's not like I'm the white man and I'm going to talk to the black. No, that's not it. We're all equals. We're all humans. I get that. But I am fascinated with the way we see each other. I'm fascinated with the things that supposedly upset us. I don't know. But the idea that there are racist police dogs is silly, granted. For everything that I just said, dogs don't have the capacity to, process information in the way that we do. So that when we're using the word race, it's not the same thing. When we use the word race, it's not the same thing as what a dog is reacting to. I don't know what that is. I just don't like dogs being used, period. I mean, I don't give a shit what color the person is that they're sending the dog in. I understand the reasoning. I understand that there are certain situations that are way too dangerous for people, so they send the dog in, right? And then the dog does his business and rips apart a person. I just don't like that for dogs. I mean, I think we want robots. Can we do robots now? Can we? Why are we? And there is something particularly vulgar about the idea of a human being setting an animal on another human being for whatever reason, whether it's for security purpose. It's just, ugh. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've got the best watchdog of my life here on the 1%er property. She would attack and she would tear someone down, but that person would be breaking into the house. So it's like, I don't care about that. And I suppose the same thing is, police dogs being used. Those people are criminals. I don't know. It's just troubling to me. The idea of dog. Every time I see it, like I watch a lot of these police chases on YouTube. And a lot of the police chases end with the dude running and some canine officer letting the dog take the dude down. And again, I'm not even talking about the color of the dude. I'm just talking about the use of a dog for that purpose. It's always... I was worried the dog's going to get hurt. Dog didn't sign up for that. You know what I mean? The dog. But I do understand the purpose of a dog as a security measure. I do get that. I just don't understand the purpose of the dog as the primary weapon, which is how they're being utilized in these situations. So let's forget about the stupidity of the dog's that racist. You're a dumb person. If you wrote that on the bill that you believe that these dogs are racist, you're a fucking dumb person. Okay, there is a problem. This is something that can be considered, but because this article and the way the story's going around they shoehorned race into it. That's what's got people talking about it. Because why? Because race is interesting. Now it's interesting. The dogs are racist. But just a regular legislative agenda item dealing with the utilization of police dogs, that's boring. But if you can somehow get racist police dogs into the headline, you can gin up the rubes, which is what we've just done here. Ginned me up. I allowed myself to be ginned up. Being ginned up's fun, though. I acquiesce to that. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being ginned up. I love being ginned up. That's why we watch sports. Sports gin us up. The tension and all that. That's why we love it. But everything isn't a sport. Everything doesn't require us to be ginned up. Mike Pence is trending. Former Vice President of the United States Mike Pence is trending. Why? Because he's being ordered to testify. Mike Pence must testify about conversations he had with former President Trump leading up to the January 6th situation. So, he doesn't want to do it. But Mike Pence doesn't know what his future is. Does anybody know what Mike Pence... I think I know what Mike Pence's future is. Fucking central Indiana on a farm somewhere, because I can't imagine that dude has any kind of national cachet left. Who's like supporting Mike Pence? Like moderate Republicans who were on the outs during the Pence-Trump administration. Moderate Republicans want nothing to do with him because they see him as complicit. Democrats Moderate Democrats want nothing to do with Pence because he's not allowed to be in a room alone with a woman that isn't his wife. Okay? That's fucking weird. So he doesn't have like normal people. And yeah, that is kind of what I called moderate Democrats. Normal people, moderate Republicans, moderate Democrats can all agree. That's fucking weird. He's not allowed to be in a room alone with a woman because that would be, something against God and his wife. So that's weird. MAGA, like you would think that he could. MAGA hates him. What Mike Pence? Who supports Mike Pence? I don't get it. Yet he's still talking about running for president. And because of that, he didn't want to commit himself to having to testify for these January 6th investigations. So he said, I don't think I can do that legally. And a judge has now ruled, now sit your ass down, Pence. We're going to ask you about how it felt when he was telling people to go hang you. He didn't want to answer those. He doesn't want to go on the record because it's dangerous for him. Because of course he's fucking livid. Of course he's livid. They didn't try to rescue him. They saw an opportunity to have him martyred right there. They built a stockade for Mike Pence. Hang Mike Pence. Have you not heard the audio? Hang Mike Pence. They were chanting that. So Mike Pence is probably pissed. He should be pissed. That fucking guy, he just fucking took it too far. He was willing to sacrifice me, and that's got to be his attitude. But he doesn't want to sit down and do that on the record because he still thinks he might be politically viable in some way, shape, or form. And he doesn't want to screw that up with people who might help him in that way. And he also can't sit down and go, he can't sit down and lie because I don't think, that's uncomfortable for him too, because then I think he knows which way the wind is blowing on this. And when I say the way the wind is blowing, I mean the way history is going to talk about all of these people. There were a number of people who were involved as, I don't want to get into it. Anyway, Mike Pence, he's going to be forced to sit down and talk. So we'll get to hear Mike Pence's side of these things. Brian Kohberger is trending. Do you remember Kohberger? Kohberger. He's that fucking piece of shit who slaughtered all those college kids in Idaho last November. Snuck in middle of the night, 4 beautiful kids, slaughtered them because he was some weirdo crime scene student at another college and he's trying to create the perfect murder. Whatever the deal is with this monster, this ghoul, this Brian Kohberger. Well, there's something interesting that's happening now. That the Kohberger family is not having a good go of this. Obviously. I mean, we never think about it in these terms, but man, Brian Kohberger has 2 sisters who are, I'm looking at pictures of them. Brian Kohberger has 2 sisters who are women in their 20s. They have jobs. They have lives. They are beautiful young women. It's an attractive family. Beautiful young women. Their fucking lives are over. Family's got to change the name. The family's got to move. The family is broke. They apparently, in the very early stages of this, the family put all of their money into defending their son. Everything, high-priced attorneys, investigations, all of this stuff. And then within a couple of weeks, they were like, oh, fuck, he did it. And they blew all their money trying to prove that he didn't. So now the family's like, yeah, we're not even visiting him. We don't want to have anything to do with that. That's, he's not our guy. But apparently shit is not going well for the sisters. They've both been fired. Both the Kohberger sisters have lost their jobs. Melissa Kohberger, who was a counselor, and Amanda Kohberger, who was an actress, reportedly lost their jobs over their relationship with their brother. The sisters of Idaho murder suspect Brian Kohberger have lost their jobs, despite the family refusing to visit the accused killer in jail. So they've cut off all ties with him, and they're still... The 28-year-old Kohberger is accused of stalking and brutally murdering 4 University of Idaho students at their off-campus home in Moscow, Idaho last November. Kohberger's arrest for the killings has severely impacted his family, who are struggling financially. His sisters, Melissa and Amanda, have been let go from their respective jobs because of their relationship with the accused killer. Prosecutors have yet to reveal if they will seek the death penalty. All right, so Kohberger's older sister, Melissa Kohberger, she was a school counselor. She was fired. Doesn't say why, doesn't go into details. Kohberger's other sister, Amanda, was a working actress. She was apparently appearing in a play. She was replaced in the play, and then she was slated to appear in a commercial and an independent film that she had contracted to do, and both people have dropped her. So Amanda Koberger, the actress, who is a cute little button, she seems like a nice little girl. These people, see, this is not fair. This is, obviously it's not fair to the parents and loved ones of those children who were killed as well. Acknowledging that they are the primary people who deserve our sympathy, but there has to be room to go, man, imagine the innocent people caught in Koberger's wake. This guy's a monster. His sisters, they might be lovely people. He's a monster. They might be one, and now their lives, because of this, because of the guilt by association of what their monstrous brother did. That's too bad. That's why Brian Koberger and the Koberger family is trending today. How about this story? Who's hungry? Huh? Who's hungry? Who wants a mammoth meatball? Oh boy, does a mammoth meatball taste good, huh? That sounds delicious. Oh, wait a second. Let me be more to the point. I'm not talking about a mammoth meatball, like a meatball that's just very large. No, I am talking about a meatball that is made out of the woolly mammoth, the extinct prehistoric animal resembling a cross between a modern-day elephant and a snuffleupagus. That's right. Some dudes. Okay, so here's what scientists are doing. So apparently, you find like a woolly mammoth clavicle, right? Something like that. We find these bones all over the place, and scientists have them. They're all stacked up. Well, now we're at a point where the scientists can actually, take DNA and they can actually grow new cloning. They can actually grow new. We don't call it cloning anymore because of the Jesus people. It freaked out a little. They took over the ownership of the word cloning. They got to define what cloning was, and it turned into some evil soul stealing thing. They don't call it that anymore. But now it's just DNA modification and all that kind of stuff. So what they did was they took like some DNA from a woolly mammoth that they found in a bone. And then this is a company. This is an Austrian company. Tell me what you think of this company. The company is called VOW. V-O-W. VOW. Okay? It's an Austrian company. I'm sorry. I do this all the time because I'm a lazy reader. It's an Australian company, not an Austrian company. This just seemed... Genetic mutation in making meatballs out of dead animals, that just seemed more Austria. That seemed something that would come out of Austria than Australia. They got the whole Hitler thing and all that. It just seemed very German, very, very, very master racy is all I'm saying. But anyway, no, it's coming out of Australia. So they're gonna create woolly mammoth meat from the DNA. And then they're gonna make meatballs and they're gonna sell the meatballs. This is a company that here is their business model. God, and I come up with ideas for companies all the time, and I can't get any money for my ideas, and my ideas are actually viable. This guy went to a banker and said, give me $10 billion, whatever he said, give me a $10 million loan because I want to make a meatball sandwich out of a mammoth. And he got it. It can't just be good credit, right? It can't. It's got to be. A mammoth meatball is here. Literally. Australian food company VOW has focused on making better meat directly from animal cells. I don't like that sentence. First of all, I don't like the conjoining of the words better meat. There's only one kind of meat. Edible, okay? Sometimes sometimes it's a better cut. But as far as meat goes, meat is meat. It's either inedible and it's bad meat, or it's just meat. So what do you mean better meat? The company says it can take just a handful of cells and turn it into a sustainable meat protein. See, this all sounds very unappetizing. A meat protein? That sounds like a gel. Here you go. Here's your prime rib paste. And you just like... The company says it can take just a handful of cells and turn it into a sustainable meat protein. It's the best way possible to make better food available to billions of people, the company says. We cultivate the perfect combination of cells for their ability to self-renew and for ideal flavor, texture, and aromas. While Vow leaders plan to create various animal protein produced in electrified systems, building a mammoth meatball was meant to turn heads. Okay, so that's why they're the mammoth meatball. The mammoth meatball is just a publicity stunt to show what they can do. Now, let's eliminate the mammoth meatball nonsense because that is fascinating. I would taste a mammoth. No, I wouldn't. Would I? 10,000-year-old DNA genetically turned into a meatball sandwich made from. Is this gonna taste like a wool? That's some bullshit. That's some bullshit. All right, here's the bullshit that I'm calling right here. So you're gonna make this meatball, right? And you're saying that it's from a woolly mammoth and you're gonna make it taste really good and all that kind of stuff. So when I taste this, it's gonna taste different, right? Like the first time you taste elk or deer, like it's not gonna taste like beef. It's gonna taste like something else. It's gonna taste like snuffleupagus, right? So when you taste that and you chew it and you're like, okay, and you're having this new flavor sensation for the first time, and they're gonna be like, yeah, that tastes exactly like mammoth. It's like, nobody's ever tasted mammoth. The fuck you mean? You could just make this taste like it could taste terrible and you can go, well, unfortunately, mammoths didn't taste good. That's some bullshit. But the upside to this, and this is a very good thing, this can end hunger in the world. If these kinds of techniques, if these kinds of things, obviously the mammoth meatball is just a publicity stunt to get some attention for this company. What this company is really trying to do is create meat to feed populations in areas where they don't have meat. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a game changer. That is a game changer. So have all the fun you want with the mammoth meatball, but the company seems to be doing, they have loftier goals. Skull auction. Yeah. All right, we'll dance on this quickly. So in North Carolina, they're auctioning off a 4,000-year-old skull. It's a 4,000-year-old skull found in, like, I don't know, by the Mississippi River. Pre-Columbian, obviously Native American, pre-Columbian, an ancient American skull. So they're trying to, who wants a skull? Hey, that whole thing, and they're going to auction it off. The skull is expected to fetch $2,000. $2,000. I mean, I would think it'd be more, right? I mean, if you're a rich dude, right? If you're a super rich dude and you just happen to like this shit, you would pay like a lot for that. You could pay like, I could see like $100,000 that a rich guy paid, but they're asking $2,000. What do they want, a farmer? What do they want? Like almost anybody can afford that. Not me. Although, maybe in the future, a boy can dream. But here's the problem. And none of you thought about this before now. And I didn't either. I read the story and I'm like, yeah, well, the skull, 2,000 is that. I'm focused on price. I'm focused on the looks of the dude that wants to buy a 4,000-year-old skull. I wasn't focused on this, which is probably important. It's a human skull, man. Okay? It is, first of all, desecration could be a word that we could use to apply to this. So Native American groups have descended upon this auction house and they're like, stop it. This is ridiculously disrespectful. This is a human being that somebody picked up from their place of rest and now suddenly it's being sold as a bauble. And it is, if you are morally anchored to what is right and what is wrong, this is wrong. This is wrong. It's a human. It's a human being. You are desecrating the remains of a human being and you're selling it for profit. So that I get. But I didn't think about that until I read it in the story. And then I went, yeah, you know what? They do kind of have these Indians absolutely have a complaint here and I'm on their side. This doesn't seem right. That's a person. That's a human being. That's not a rock. Oh, it was 4,000 years ago. Humanity is humanity, my friend. You can't parse it with a timeline. What is wrong with you? All right. Dumb phones are trending. We know smartphones, right? We all got smartphones. Dumb phones are trending. You know what dumb phones are? Well, we all had them. Dumb phones, basically anything we had before 2008, 2007. When was the first smartphone? Anyway, Dumb phones were the flip phones, the Nokias, all that kind of stuff. Dumb phones are on the rise, and I can tell you flat out, my 13-year-old son wants one. I don't know why he wants one. I don't know. You know what I think it is? Here's why they're on the rise. Gen Z is scooping up dumb phones. They're saying that it's a widespread movement among parents and educators that has trickled down to the Gen Z of limiting screen time. Now, I actually love this idea because my kid is on his freaking phone all the time, and I'm constantly yelling at him. We can't watch a movie. Like, we have to put our phones in a bowl before we watch a movie. And the phone has to be on the other side of the room. None of this, are you watching? And then I look down and he's texting with a friend. I'm like, stop it! So in order to limit screen time, dumb phones are making a comeback, and kids are apparently really into them. Dumb phones are on the rise as Gen Z looks to limit their own screen time. Dumb phones may be falling out of fashion on a global scale, but here in the United States, it's a different story. Companies like HMD Global, the maker of Nokia phones, continue to sell millions of mobile devices similar to those used in the early 2000s. This includes what's known as feature phones, traditional flip or slide phones, and these new phones do include additional modern features like GPS or a hotspot. Okay, all right, that's good, because those phones didn't have that. That's good. Those are two innovations with the smartphone that if you're moving your kid to a phone in an attempt to get them less screen time, you still want the GPS. You still want to be able to connect to the internet. That's good. Okay. I think you can see it with certain Gen Z populations. Here's a quote, said Jose Briones, who's a dumb phone influencer and moderator of a subreddit, Dumb Phones. She says, I think you can see it with certain Gen Z populations. They're tired of the screens. They don't know what is going on with mental health, and they're trying to make cutbacks. In the U.S., feature flip phone sales were up in 2022. I don't want one, but I'm not a kid, and I'm not on my phone at all times. I went through them. I had them the first time. You had them the first time. Wonderful phones. I like them. If kids want to use those because maybe it'll cause them to look around at the world a little more and actually experience life as an organic, growing, evolving being, that's what I'm hoping for. But my kid is just constantly into his phone. But he wants a flip phone. He's like, I think a flip phone would be cool. Like, what kind of flip phone you want? I want a pink one. Like, he saw a pink one. I go, you want a pink phone? He's like, yeah, that'd be badass. I'm like, okay, kid. All right. I'm like, I couldn't have a pink phone when I was your age. People would think something of me. It's like, nobody's going to think anything of me. It's 2003. 2023, Dad. Nobody cares. Chiefsaholic is trending. You know what the Chiefsaholic is? Chiefsaholic is the unofficial mascot of the Kansas City Chiefs. We see him on TV every time the Chiefs play. He dresses in like a wolf costume. He's in a full cosplay wolf costume, but the wolf is wearing a Kansas City Chiefs jersey and uniform. That's that guy. He's known as Chiefsaholic. Well, you might remember when Chiefsaholic made the news back in November, or actually I think it was December. It was a playoff game, right? Wasn't it? No, I don't think it was, because it was Houston. He was driving to Houston. So Chiefsaholic was on TV all the time. Every Chiefs game, he was there. And people were like, what the fuck does Chiefsaholic do for a living that he can travel to all of these cities? I mean, he was a road dog. The Chiefsaholic mascot was on the road at all Chiefs. People were like, what does he do? What does he do? And then one day he didn't show up for a Chiefs game last year. People were like, where'd he go? I hope the Chiefsaholic's okay. I hope he's fine. Chiefsaholic, as it turns out, is a bank robber. The Chiefsaholic got busted robbing a bank. And so they threw him in the slammer, and he missed his first Chiefs game in 17 years. And because he wasn't on TV, all the Chiefs fans and all that on Twitter, they're like, where's Chiefsaholic? What happened to Chiefsaholic? So that was a couple of months ago. We learned that Chiefsaholic was the way that he was able to afford all of these trips and all this stuff. Yeah, he was a bank robber. He was robbing banks. There's a $1 million warrant currently issued for the arrest of Kansas City superfan Chiefaholic. Why? because he skipped court. So he got arrested for the bank robbery thing, right? Chiefsaholic gets, yeah, you know what? I got to show you this guy. You got to look at this guy because you'll know him when you see him. You're like, oh, that guy, I've seen him on football. So he gets arrested for the bank robbery back in, whatever, December or whatever. He apparently bailed out. Apparently bank robbers get bailed out. I figured, you're a bank robber, right? Isn't that one that they keep you there? Apparently not. Okay, here we go. All right, there we go. I want you to see this guy. All right, there he is. All right, so there he is. There he is on the left. That's him as the bank robber, and then that's him on the right as the Chiefsaholic. Yeah. His name is Xavier Babudar. Xavier Babudar, a.k.a. Chiefsaholic. Faces bank robbery charges from Tulsa County Sheriff. It's his Wolfman costume photo from the New York Post, worn by the cut sheets. Blah, 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 blah. Xavier Badar was arrested back in December for a robbery at a credit union in Oklahoma. He was supposed to appear in court Monday to face charges of robbery with a dangerous weapon and assault while masked or disguised. Was he dressed as the Chiefsaholic? Now that's something. I mean, think about that. He could rob banks dressed as the Chiefsaholic, the guy on the right. He could rob banks dressed as that. And then it would be a totally believable thing where he would be like, I didn't rob that. Why would I rob the bank? Everybody knows I'm the Chiefsaholic. Why would it? That's not even a costume for me. You guys know. He could have tried that. Xavier Badubar, was arrested in December for robbery at a credit union in Oklahoma. He was supposed to appear in court on Monday to face charges of robbery with a dangerous weapon and assault while masked or disguised, but online court information shows that he failed to show up. Authorities got an electronic alert that the tracker had been tampered with on Saturday. He cut it off. He cut those, you get to wear the ankle brace. He cut the ankle tracker off. Budabar lawyer Tracy Tiemann told the New York Times that he knew nothing about it. His lawyer says, I reached out to him and haven't had a response. No, he ain't going to. He's in the wind. The beloved Chiefs fan rarely missed a game. News of his arrest in December broke after he missed one and fans noticed. All right, there you go. Let's keep a lookout for Chiefsaholic. I don't know. Chiefsaholic. What else do we have here? This is a nice one. I like this one. All right, so here we're going to show this one. I'm going to show you this one, and we're going to watch this, and we're going to feel good about ourselves. And for a brief moment, we're going to have kindness, decency, love, and happiness in our hearts. Are you ready? All right. Let me get you to it. I got to share it because it's a video. You got to see the video. And we're all going to feel good about this, okay? Hey. Look at this. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Jeremy Renner on a treadmill. Jeremy Renner! They put them back together!
Correct. Yeah, and just with only 40% of my weight.
Computerized version of when I...
Okay, so I just wanted to show you. Jeremy Renner, man, they talked about how he was never going to walk again. His acting career was over. He almost died. He lost so much blood that there was going to be long-term organ issues because of the amount of blood that he lost. And Jeremy Renner, what was it? It happened on New Year's Eve, right? It was New Year's Eve. Unbelievable. God, is that a feel-good. Jeremy Renner seems like a good dude. He seems like a good dude. And what an unbelievably terrible accident to be involved in. He was sucked under the wheels, the treads of a gigantic snowplow, and it basically crushed him. Like thousands and thousands of pounds just rolled over him on a tread. I was reading something that said that he was, this is pretty graphic, but he was spared from being killed. He was spared from being completely cut in half at the midsection by the pressure of the treads because the snow was so deep that his body was actually pushed down into the snow. Like if that had been on hard ground, if that tractor had rolled over him on hard ground, he'd have been a pancake. But because it sucked him in snow, he was pushed all the way to, so there was room. Like oh my God, still unbelievable. Good deal with there. Good deal with old Jeremy Renner. All right, here's another one. Bill Murray is trending today. You know I love me some Bill Murray. I love Bill Murray. Bill Murray is trending. This is here. I'll show you this why too. I did not know this. Did you guys know this? So Bill Murray is apparently hanging out and going nuts. Bill Murray is a UConn super fan. You know, UConn, University of Connecticut, basketball. He's a UConn super fan. UConn's playing Miami on Saturday night. Bill Murray's going to be all over the TV. And I've been seeing him at these guys. I didn't really notice why. Here's why. There you go. Here. This is why Bill Murray is everywhere. This is UConn assistant coach Luke Murray. That's right. Bill Murray's son is the assistant coach on the University of Connecticut men's basketball team. And that's why Bill Murray is all over the tournament this year. Let's see if we can get a picture of him. Does he look like Bill Murray? He does not look like Bill Murray to me. There he is with Bill Murray. Okay, so there you have UConn assistant coach Luke Murray sitting with his father, Bill Murray. I don't see. We know. Luckily, we know what Bill Murray looked like when he was Luke Murray's age. So yeah, I don't know. Is he adopted? He does not look like Bill Murray. Yeah. That's cool though. I mean, I think that's a fun fact, right? Are there any other pictures of Bill Murray sitting courtside? We missing him somewhere? Ah, well, there's one. There's Bill Murray sitting courtside watching his son coach. Okay. All right, there you have it. What else do we have here? Stop the sharing. Oh, yeah. Here, let's look at this. Here, we'll check this out too. There's a whole bunch of videos here of Bill Murray losing his shit at these games. Let's see if we can. Yep. Yeah. All right. Let's pull that up. I will watch some videos here. All right. So let's watch this one. There we go. Oh, I didn't share it.
Unreal.
There you go. Bill Murray action.
The roof off this place. Some no-go. Unreal.
He's enjoying himself.
Bill Murray liking it. May have to write him into his next Hollywood script.
Oh, shut up. Dummy. How do we do this? Boom, boom, bum, 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 bum. Let's see what else. We got any other good Bill Murray video? All right, there's Bill Murray. Oh, that's Bill Murray. Okay, so this is interesting. All right, so here's a picture. This is Bill Murray and his brother, Brian Doyle Murray, and they're watching a UConn game. They're watching. Brian Doyle Murray is watching his nephew coach, and Bill Murray is watching his son coach. Couple of brothers just hanging out. What is this? Oh, yeah. This one, actually, I saw this one trending before, too. This is Bill Murray after every game. He goes into the tunnel and greets the players. Damn right these kids want to hang out with a real Ghostbuster. So what else we got here? What else is happening with Bill? I don't know. He's hanging out. These are all like Connecticut fan parties and stuff. Oh, here, this one's good.
What they are, and then you will root.
All right, so this is just some random. This is just him hanging out in the crowd. Now I want you to watch this. Watch this.
So let's put it out there. Let's see what they are, and then you.
Why is he sexually assaulting these women? Bill Murray! Cancel Bill Murray! We've got him on video in a basketball game. Those women did not ask to be touched. Those women did not want him to do this to them right here. See how absurd this shit is? I mean, imagine we didn't have this video. And imagine one of these women was a right cunt, as my friend said. My English lady friend. Well, she's not my lady friend, but she's a friend of mine. She's English. What if one of these ladies was just awful? Look at this woman right here. What if she immediately tweeted, Bill Murray just strangled me for no reason in a basketball game?
Song. So let's put them up there. Let's see what they are, and then you will root for the one you want most.
None of that.
Do you want to hear?
There's a payday in it for you if you could just get on board. That's why Bill Murray's trending today. I love Bill Murray. I think Bill Murray is my favorite. I thought about this afternoon. I was like, if we're gonna do my favorite Saturday Night Live person of all time, like who's number one? A lot of people be like Eddie Murphy. I don't think so. I think it's Bill Murray. I think Bill Murray is number one for me. I think Bill Murray's number one. I think John Belushi's number two. I think Eddie Murphy's number three. Saturday Night Live draft. No, that's gonna take way more time than just to be able to free ball it here at 2:19. 2:19? Oh my God, you guys. We are going long today. Going extra long. And I didn't even bother to put up the tip thing. Look at me, because I'm so... Ugh. Tip the show if you can. We'd appreciate that. Venmo, Cash App, all of those good things. All right, let's end with this. Actually, we won't even end because I'm going to jump. I want to jump back when we're through here, and I want to see. I just want to recheck on some of these school swatting things that are happening. They can't all be fake, can they? Can they? Well, hopefully. God, what is wrong with me? See, this is the free form stream of consciousness. What is wrong with me? Of course, we can hope that they're all fake. What am I telling on myself here? What? It's difficult. So I have a very difficult relationship with Wes Anderson. Yeah, I know that's an abrupt way to start this transition. Wes Anderson, the film director. See, this is me. That was me legitimately just thinking about Wes Anderson. Don't know him. Never met him. Never, I've seen interviews with him. I kind of get his vibe. I've seen all of his movies. Did he do Rushmore? Was that his first? Was Rushmore his first? No, Rushmore was Sofia Coppola. I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Rushmore had a very Wes Anderson feel to it. Maybe it's the presence of the Schwartzman. I don't know. Jason Schwartzman doesn't act unless it's a Wes Anderson film. I find Wes Anderson films to be really interesting, but also infuriatingly bad. I'm sorry. He is the most overrated filmmaker of all time. His films look amazing. He has a way. I'll tell you, one of the things that I've always thought was great about Wes Anderson was that Wes Anderson has a visual style. When you look at a Wes Anderson set, when you look at a Wes Anderson scene, it's very Tim Burton, Edward Scissorhands. The way Wes Anderson sees suburbia, the way Wes Anderson sees the mundane is very much similar to the way that Tim Burton saw it and depicted it in Edward Scissorhands. Everything was normal and familiar and recognizable, just a little bit weird, just a little bit off. Something was just a little bit strange. So Wes Anderson has a new movie that is coming out. And I don't do this a lot with Wes Anderson movies because I think they're mostly garbage. And I've seen almost all of them. I'll tell you the one that I liked. I liked that The Jarling Limited. I liked that. I don't know. I don't know if I like Royal Tenenbaums or not. I don't know. I've seen it a bunch of times. I find it humorous, but it also irritates me. What else? Moonrise Kingdom. Okay. Didn't get it. Did not get it. I'm like, this is boring. Moonrise Kingdom. This movie sucks, Wes Anderson. Isle of Dogs, his animated film Isle of Dogs. Loved that. So I do like some of his stuff, but man, most of the time it's just Wes Anderson being a super pretentious high school drama guy. Ugh, it's like, so stop it. However, he's got a new movie that's coming out. This new movie is a movie called Asteroid City, and the trailer dropped today. And unlike other Wes Anderson films, I mean, look, critics, if you write for a publication that nobody in Nebraska has ever heard of, you love Wes Anderson films, right? Those guys always loved it. This new one, this Asteroid City, this is getting some buzz. So they released the trailer today. I thought we could just sit back and we'll watch the trailer for the new Wes Anderson movie, Asteroid City, and then we'll all decide whether or not we want to see it. Now, here's what I would tell you about Asteroid City, the new Wes Anderson. Hold on. It is star-studded. I do not know why so many actors just want to work in this guy's movies. The movies are very confusing to me. All right, here we go. Let's watch the trailer for the new Wes Anderson film. I'm not going to even tell you who's in it. I'm not going to tell you who's in it. Watch the trailer, maybe get a pen and paper, and just start jotting down the names. This is a freaking all-star cast, and it looks good. And, you know, I just told you, I have complicated feelings towards Wes Anderson. But here's the trailer for Asteroid City. Let's pull it up for you. Bujaka. There we go. See if I can make it bigger. Yes, I can. Oh, nope. There we go. And let's begin.
You're not here.
We're not there. The car exploded. Come get the girls. I have to stay here with Woodrow.
I'm not the chauffeur. I'm the grandfather. Where are you?
Asteroid City, Farm Route 6, mile 75.
Junior stargazers and space cadets. Each year we celebrate Asteroid Day, commemorating September 23rd, 3007 BC, when the arid plains meteorite made Earth impact.
Holy Toledo, that's Mitch Campbell.
You were very good in the one about the tramp in the brothel who gets amnesia and becomes a pediatrician. You were very authentic.
Actually, maybe my favorite character ever.
I don't know why nobody else liked it.
Oh.
What do those pulses indicate?
What? Oh, the beeps and blips? We don't know.
Some of our information about outer space may no longer be completely accurate. Anyway, there's still only 9 planets in the solar system as far as we know, Billy.
Except now there's an alien.
What's happening now?
I don't know. I don't like the way that guy looked at us. The alien.
How did he look?
Like we're doomed.
Maybe we are.
I've just informed the president.
How long can they keep us in Asteroid City, legally?
The world will never be the same.
That's an alien doing jumpy jacks. That's an alien in a top hat.
What's out there? The meaning of life. Maybe there is one.
Are you married?
I'm a widower. But don't tell my kids.
You're saying her mother died 3 weeks ago?
Let's say she's in heaven. Which doesn't exist for me, of course, but you're Episcopalian.
In my loneliness, I learned to give complete and unquestioning faith to the people I love. I don't know if that includes you, but it included my daughter and your 4 children.
Sometimes I think I feel more at home outside the Earth's atmosphere.
Oh, wow. Me too. They're strange, aren't they? They're children. Compared to normal people.
Yes, that's correct.
It's true.
Jason Schwartzman, Scarlett Johansson, Tom Hanks, Jeffrey Wright, Tilda Swinton, Bryan Cranston, Edward Norton, Adrian Brody, Liev Schreiber, Stephen Park, Rupert Friend, Maya Hawke, Steve Carell, Matt Dillon, Margot Robbie, Jake Ryan. Is that the guy from 16 Candles? I didn't even know he's a real person.
I do a nude scene. You want to see it?
Huh? Did I say yes?
You didn't say anything.
I meant yes. My mouth didn't speak.
All right. Now, I got to tell you, kind of like it. Kind of like the way that one looks. Quirky. Looks weird. But I like there's no Bill Murray, though. We didn't see Bill Murray. We just came out of Bill Murray. How do we not have Bill Murray in a Wes Anderson film? Looks like we replaced Bill Murray with Tom Hanks, which, you know, if you can do that, that's good. That's fine. Replacing a Bill Murray with Bill Murray probably too busy out following UConn basketball to make it to the set for this particular Wes Anderson production, but we will see. All right. That's going to pretty much do it for the stuff that we have prepared. Let me see if there is anything at all going on that may have started. Look at me giving you an extra. Giving you extra. Look at that. See, Ross review. That is a Ross review. That looks horrendous. Yeah. I don't know. I don't get that. But okay. I don't think that looks horrendous at all. I think that looks. Now, Does it look like it has a potential to be pretentious? Yes. And at that point, I'm going to bog out. But I don't think it looks horrendous. I think it looks spectacular. I think the set design, the color, the cinematography, I think that looks amazing. But it's Wes Anderson. So it could be could be, I was going to say douchebag pretentious. It can't be douchebag pretentious. It's Wes Anderson, so it's high school theater club pretentious. I think it's got a real strong likelihood of that. And it could suck. But I love that cast, man. First of all, I'll see anything Scarlett Johansson's in. That's a fact. You can check the record. I wouldn't know how you would check that. Just other than I've seen pretty much everything Scarlett Johansson has done, and I really enjoy her. Jeremy Renner is trending. We talked about that, Jeremy. Why is Dollar General trending? You know how I like to go on my Dollar Tree rant? So maybe there's a Dollar General rant. 92% of Dollar General employees earn less than a living wage. They reported $3.3 billion in profit last year. Oh, yeah. The dollar store industry. Huge profits. You know, dollar store, first of all, you know the dollar store, you know what your grandmother called the dollar store? The dime store. The dime store used to be a thing, but that's inflation. Now we don't have dime stores anymore. I'm going to the dime store. We don't have dime stores anymore. Now we have dollar stores. And who shops at dollar stores? People who are budget conscious. People who are looking for the best possible deal on something. So Dollar Tree and Dollar General and all the dollar stores, sure, yeah, $3.3 billion in profit last year for Dollar General. A banner year, biggest year in their history. After raising their prices because they weren't making it because of inflation. Wait a second. You weren't making it because of inflation, and then you post the largest year of profits in your company's history. We're not making it because of inflation, so we must raise our prices. At what point did you think it was okay to raise your prices to an extent that you would have the best year in history? So you went from, it's hard for us to make a profit, to exploiting the situation and having the best year in your history while abusing your clients, your customers, who are poor people. Rich people don't shop at dollar stores. They just don't. Rural and low-income people shop at these stores. Those are the people who you squeezed to have your record year. Fuck you. Well, it's just business, and that's what capitalism's all about. Oh, is it? Okay, great. Thank you for explaining the basics of capitalism to me. I've only been an American in this society for 53 years, but yeah, thank you for explaining how that works. Why are the Texas Rangers training? Opening day. Woo, baby. I ain't doing a show tomorrow. It is opening day. That is a hot... No, I'm kidding. I'll do a show. Of course I'll do a show. But it is opening day tomorrow. Opening day in baseball for all... Oh, my God. I don't know how many baseball teams there are. I just realized Johnny Baseball, 30... Oh, God. Oh, my God. I can't believe I don't know this off the top of my head. 30. How many teams are there in Major League Baseball? How do I not know this? 30. Man, this is happening. All right. All right, that's enough. All right, shut up. Stop. Stop it! All right, done. Thank you. This has been happening a lot with me lately. You saw, I said 30. I was like 30. There's 30 teams, and then I doubted myself. I'm starting to have these holes in my where I don't trust what my. It's either just a normal thing that happens with age, or I'm sliding into dementia. Yesterday, did you see yesterday during the show? Yesterday during the Pugs and Parker show, I was engaged in two conversations, two questions, and both, at the minute I went to load up the question into my mind, into my mouth, and formulate the words, the question was gone. That happened twice during the interview yesterday. I'm like, the fuck did that go? Now, I took some medication yesterday before the show, actually like 2 hours before the show. I thought it would be through my system, but it's for allergies, and it makes me a little bit like flaky, like my mind runs into dead ends when I take this stuff. But it works really well. Haven't taken it yet today. Haven't needed it. But that's what I assume the reason was. But man, I gotta tell you, there are things like words I can't think of. Like simple words. Like I'll be like, yeah, and he bought a new car. It's what's that color? What's that? Blue. It's blue. Shit like that. Like blue. Like the color blue was just gone from my mind for like 15 seconds. It's been happening. Not a lot. I don't want to freak you out. Not a lot. But, it's happened like a couple of times. And I'm like, Jesus, am I just getting older or is this something I need to be concerned about? Bill Simmons. Why is Bill Simmons trending? Bill Simmons is trending. When he's trending, I like Bill Simmons. I do. I really do. I think he's fascinating. But why is he trending? I don't know why he's trending. All right, doesn't really matter. All right, let's call it a day, folks. That's going to be it. Let's end this show. Look at me. I went 2 hours and 30 minutes. That's pretty good. That's nice. Some days we go a little bit short, but I think I've proven to you that I want to be here. I don't go short just because I'm phoning it in. I go short because there's something's got to be done. On days like today, when we can stretch out, we can go an extra half hour. It's not too bad. All right, love you guys. Tip the show. Help out the show if you can. We like to get that out there as many times as possible because the show's dying. Just put it bluntly to you. The future of the show is definitely in jeopardy, but I can guarantee you we've got a few shows left in our tanks. We're going to keep trying. We're going to keep pushing. See you tonight at 9 o'clock. I don't know who the guest is tonight at 9 o'clock. I don't know that. I would really... I'm enjoying having these 105.3 guests because I'm really loving this project of creating this podcast that will tell the story from beginning to end of the rise and fall of Live 105.3, a radio station that existed here in Dallas, Texas for about 10 years, the start of the, I guess we could say turn of the century. I'm enjoying it. But man, there's like other things that I want to talk to, like, James and E about and all that. So I don't know what tonight's Pugs and Parker show is going to be. If James has a guest loaded up that he wants to do, I guess we'll do another guest. But I would like to have a topic night. Just a night where we do topics. But we'll see. Well, say join us at 9 o'clock tonight and you can see what we've decided on. That is understood, it's understood, yeah. Barney, what's Barney getting into? What's Barney saying? Barney says, I want to tell poor people to quit being stupid. Be smart and rich like me, it's more fun. Yeah, there you go, Barney. Barney knows, he's got it. Poor people, just go get money. It's not that hard. The older I get, and the more, you know what I mean? Like when you're younger, you have your hope, you have your ideas, you have your creations. You think, oh, this is going to click, this is going to take off, this is going to be great. The older I get, the more that I'm like, okay, options are getting limited now. It's like I'm too old now to get into shape and become a male dancer. You know what I mean? My options are limiting as I'm getting older. I'm warming up to the idea of crime. I really am. Not like violent crime, not like dangerous crime. Like I won't take something that you have and, steal it out of your garage. Not that kind of crime. But I'm like, man, there's got to be. I see all these dudes in suits driving fancy cars. They're always being indicted for something. There's got to be some criminal money-making white-collar thing that I can get involved in. Something that if it all goes badly, and it probably will, but if it all goes badly, something that's going to end with me spending 18 months in North Carolina working on my tennis game. Like a federal prison, like some kind of like club fed kind of a deal. I'm obsessed with that. I am obsessed with finding, because worst case, like I don't want to do drugs, because those have like I don't want to sell drugs. That'd be easy. You can sell drugs, that's easy. I don't want to sell drugs because that's got, that's going to have me in Gen Pop. That's going to have me in like a regular state prison. I don't want that. I want something like a tax, not tax, but like a stock scam. Something like that. see these rich guys that they're all on trial and they made all their money by doing shady shit. And I'm like, I could do shady shit. And at the very least, I could have like 2 years of living like a billionaire, right? Wouldn't that be fun? Wouldn't that be fun? I look at this 30-year-old Sam Bankman-Fried guy. Remember him? I look at him and I'm like, I'd trade places with him in a heartbeat. He's probably got like holes dug with just duffel bags filled with cash. So that whenever he gets out of his crazy little, mister, you're going to do 7 months in a tennis prison. When he's done with that, you just go dig up his holes with all of his cash. I could do that. I want to do that. It's an option. It's becoming more of an option. No drugs, no violent crime, no exploitation of the lesser. Well, you know what I mean? Like people who are no punching down, no exploiting the people lesser than me. Oh, that's interesting. Who do you think the people lesser than you are? No comment. So, like, what would happen to me if I went on eBay and said that I had something? Like, what if I went on eBay? So we did this story today about the 4,000-year-old skull that's down there being auctioned off. Like, what if I went on eBay and I'm like, yeah, I got $2,000, that's not enough. What if I go on eBay and I'm like, yeah, okay, here we go. I got a rookie Babe Ruth baseball card, mint condition, but then I don't have it. But I just say that I have it and then I sell it. How does that work? Could I do that? Could I like steal money from people on eBay? Exploit some dork who wants to spend $100,000 on a Babe Ruth card? Where's the crime there? Shady, yeah, but not hurting anybody. All right, I got nothing else. I'm done. Crypto, Frank, if I had even the slightest idea what crypto was all about, I'd be working on scams. Criminal, just crazy. Also, no charity, like can't do like a fake charity. That's bad. Like, no, I don't want to do something. I want to engage in crime to enrich myself. But I don't want the crime to be anything that, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to run a fake charity. You know, like, oh, we're going to take money for kids with cancer. I don't want to do that. That's the worst. Because I want to at least be able to go, I tried, whatever. It was just a little scam, a little shell game. Tried to fool you folks. Fooled you for a while. I drove a Ferrari for 6 months. And then the law caught up with me and now I'm in jail. That's the kind of crime that I want to be involved in. Just got to figure out what that is. Amel's good at that stuff. Like, Amel might have a bunch. Amel's a pretty straight arrow guy. But he's always got like, he's always got like a concoction going in his head. All right, that's going to do it. Love you guys. We'll see you tonight at 9 o'clock for Pugs and Parker with E here on the Radio Misfits podcast platform. Bye, everybody. Tip the show if you can. Bye.